And the New York Yankees, the team with the best record in all of baseball, hosting Juan Gonzalez and the Texas Rangers in the first of a two-game series. It's Wednesday night baseball from the Bronx, Yankee Stadium, the Yankees and the Texas Rangers. Hi, everybody. I'm Charlie Steiner. The New York Yankees at 25-7 are off to their fastest start in 40 years. And if the Red Sox and Texas Rangers shared the same division, they would both be 3.5 games behind the high-flying New York Yankees. Joined tonight by Dave Campbell. And when you think about the Yankees' astonishing start, they have done it with Chuck Knobloch hitting just .242. Mariano Rivera missed the first 3 weeks of the season. So some other guys are picking up the slack.
Yeah, they really are, Charlie. But the Yankees find different ways to win. I mean, in the early going, they were running like crazy on the base pass. They lead the American League in stolen bases. Then they got the home run ball going. Last night, they won with little ball, advancing a runner in the squeeze play. The pitching has been real good, with the exception maybe of David Cone and David Wells consistently. But the one guy who has been consistent, just like last year, Tino Martinez, 141 RBIs last year, and on a pace like that again.
Martinez hitting .333 in the early going. The Texas Rangers, on the other hand, they're in first place in the American League West by 4.5 games over the Angels. On display tonight, the human RBI machine, Juan Gonzalez.
323 RBIs in his last 304 games, better than an RBI a game since the beginning of the '96 season. He's one of those guys, when he gets men on base, his eyes get real big. Some guys are afraid to hit in the pressure. Gonzalez thrives on it.
Speaking of the '96 season, that is when the Yankees and Rangers last met in the postseason. Maybe this year, we'll see it all over again. Yankees and Rangers coming up next. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Original Coors. There's only one mile-high taste. Coors, the original. On a cool, crisp spring night in New York, it's the Yankees and the Texas Rangers in the first of a two-game series. A crowd of probably about 20,000, and frankly, the Yankees have had great trouble drawing crowds this year. Perhaps they're spoiled. Their team is 25-7, and Dave, I heard that this sitcom is going off the air tomorrow night, and in its honor, Wayne Knight of Newman is going to be throwing out the first ball.
Well, thank goodness. I thought David Cone had gained some weight. Newman's going to fire out the first pitch tonight. Of course, there has been a Yankee connection on Seinfeld over the years, so the press has got their cameras ready to take pictures of Wayne Knight, a.k.a. Newman.
He's getting a standing ovation. Well, let's see what he can bring to the dance.
I'll guarantee you one thing. If that sitcom took place in Chicago, he wouldn't be getting a standing ovation.
I think you're right about that. As Johnny Oates looks on, and wasn't much of an arm, wasn't much of a toss, but not a bad little sitcom. Now let's take a look at the starting lineups tonight for the Texas Rangers. Tom Goodwin is going to be leading it off. Talking to Will Clark the other day, he says that Tom Goodwin is simply the fastest man he has ever seen play baseball. Mark McLemore with a .439 on-base percentage batting second, followed by Rusty Greer, who turned it up a notch this weekend, going 6 out of 7, raising his batting average to .271. Juan Gonzalez and his 48 RBIs batting fourth, followed by Will Clark. Pudge Rodriguez at .396, leading the American League in hitting. Lee Stevens, Kevin Elster, and Fernando Tatis round out the starting 9. David Cone pitching for New York.
Cone's record 4-1, but the ERA is 6.61. First time he has pitched in 8 days. He's bothered by a bit of a knee problem. He had reconstruction 15 years ago. Tweaked it a little bit in his last start. His numbers since he has come to New York are phenomenal. 32-11 with the Yankees, 18-5 here at the stadium. But that doesn't tell the whole story. He missed a lot of time with an aneurysm, missed some time with a shoulder problem last year, but when he is healthy, he is still one of the best in the game. Fastball, slider, great split forkball, and one of the best competitors in the game.
He pitches tonight with a heavy heart. Tomorrow at the Sloan Kettering Cancer Institute here in New York, his mom will have surgery to remove a mass from her lung. The initial report is that it is benign, but it's still always serious business, that kind of surgery. And so David Cone pitching tonight and basically in some kind of a sanctuary out on the hill where he can forget about everything.
Take a look at the Yankee defense playing behind Cone, and it's been a very good defense, to say the least. Chad Curtis in left, Bernie Williams. He's the anchor of the outfield and center. Paul O'Neill, underrated in right. Double play combination of Jeter and Knobloch, certainly one of the very best in the game, perhaps the best offensively and near the top defensively. Scott Brocious has been a pleasant find for the Yankees coming over from Oakland, and the steady Tino Martinez is at first base, the Gold Glove winner a year ago.
And Joe Girardi will be calling the signals for David Cone as Tom Goodwin steps in to lead it off for the Texas Rangers. Goodwin hitting .312 with a home run and 7 RBIs. Goodwin hit his first home run of the year yesterday. He had gone 365 at-bats between dingers. And here's the first pitch of the ball game. Takes inside, down and low, ball one. Tim Sheeta is the home plate umpire. The crew chief, Don Denkinger, at first. Rick Reed at second. Brian Onora, the umpire, at third. Here's the 1-0. Slap foul and out of play.
Charlie, one of the reasons the Yankees are leading the American League in runs scored is the combination of Goodwin and McLemore getting aboard. Goodwin, a .330 lifetime on-base percentage guy, much better this year, and even though McLemore has been slumping of late, they have really set the table for the middle of the lineup. Slapped in to the glove of Derek Jeter. Goodwin didn't get it all. One out and nobody on. Jeter got a good break on it. He didn't think originally he was going to get there, but because Goodwin got jammed so badly and hung up long enough for Derek to make a rather routine play. Brings up Mark McLemore, hitting .307 with a .439 on-base percentage, but he has slumped of late. 3 for his last 32. Tailing fastball, outside corner, nothing in 1. Not very many of these Rangers have done much with David Cone in the career, especially guys like Greer, Rodriguez, Clark, and Gonzalez have been so-so. So the heart of their order has not done much. We'll see what happens tonight. Nothing in 2 to McLemore. Got off to a blazing start, but has seen his batting average drop 72 points in the last 11 games. Takes up high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. McLemore played only 89 games last year. Tore a ligament in his hand. Had both knees scoped as well. 1 and 2 to McLemore. Well, that's the first strikeout in the ball game for David Cone. Well, the 8 days certainly doesn't appear to have any rust on David Cone. He comes out and looks very sharp here in the first inning.
29, Rusty Greer.
That brings up Rusty Greer.
Number 29.
McLemore left standing at the altar. Greer 193 hits last season, a career high, and he fouls it back. Nothing in 1. Charlie, you mentioned when you were giving the lineups that Rusty Greer has been hot of late. One of the things Rudy Jaramillo, the batting coach, told Rusty, he says, hey, you utilized the whole field last year. Quit trying to pull so much. He started to spray the ball, and the average has gone up. 7 for his last 14. Down and in, 1 ball and 1 strike. Rusty Greer hit .321 last year and .332 in '96. And I defy you, if he walked into the office, you had no idea who this guy is.
Especially if he said, "Hi, I'm Thurman Clyde Greer," which is what his name is. But Rusty Greer, the baseball aficionados would know.
2-1. Al Tips 2-2.
Cone changing speeds, locating very well. So David showing no effects of the knee problem. And again, he changed his approach about 4 starts ago. They were trying to get him to conserve, not be all out. But he said, "I can't pitch that way." He really got hammered early. He's going after hitting time.
Here's the 2 to Greer. A 1-2-3 inning for David Cone. He strikes out 2. And now it's the Yankees' turn when we come back.
My husband and I.
And now it's the Yankees' turn, and here's their starting lineup. Chuck Knobloch leading off at second base. He's been a disappointment offensively, hitting only .242. Derek Jeter at .314 batting second. Paul O'Neill, Tino Martinez, and Bernie Williams, the heart of the order. Darryl Strawberry, 7 home runs on the season, is batting 6th. The bottom third, Chad Curtis, Scott Brocious, and Joe Girardi, and they will be facing Rick Helling, who comes into the game looking to become the first 7-game winner in Major League Baseball.
Well, the fact that Helling and his teammate Aaron Seeley have 12 wins between them, one of the biggest surprises in baseball. He's always had a great arm. #1 draft choice of the Rangers out of Stanford. Went to Florida, came back. He's throwing strikes. He'll start low in the strike zone, try to get him to chase the high fastball, a curve, and a terrific changeup he's developed this year.
Chuck Knobloch will be leading it off for the Yankees. Knobloch, in his first season in New York, as you take a look at Tom Goodwin, center field, and Rick Helling, apparently doesn't change his ball cap often.
From the John Wetland School.
Yeah, it sure is.
Get a lot of salt on that cap from the perspiration. If you're going to play down in Texas, you're going to get a lot of salt on your cap.
99 degrees down there yesterday. It's about 35 degrees cooler here tonight. Here's the first pitch to Knobloch. And he takes call strike. Knobloch hitting just .242. But he's a career 304 hitter. The Yankees know he's going to come on.
Well, Helling will have to throw strikes tonight because the Yankee lineup really knows how to extend the counts.
Coming into the game, you know, we can vary you with statistics, but here is actually one of the more interesting statistics in baseball this year. The Yankees average 18.5 pitches per inning. So they are patient hitters. That's a call strike. No other team is anywhere near that many. So they will look at a lot of pitches. And what it does is wear down the opposing pitcher as much as anything else.
Yeah, multiply that out times 6 innings, you get to 108 pitches. And a lot of starting pitchers, you have to stick a fork in them at 108 pitches. So if you don't have a deep bullpen, the Yankees are going to get you.
The 1-2, it's in the dirt, it's 2-2. And so the Yankee hitters wait for their pitchers, or wait for their pitches, and the opposing pitchers are forced to work a lot more than they would like.
That really came to fore in 1996 in Game 4 of the World Series. Denny Nagel had a 6-0 lead over the Yankees, but they finally wore him down and got him out of there in the 6th, and the Braves didn't have much depth in their bullpen. The Yankees won that game and turned the series around.
Knobloch takes ball 3. So here's the leadoff hitter already extending the count full. Three balls and 2 strikes to Knobloch. Drills it down the third baseline. That's fair. Knobloch on his way to second base, and he will make it as Greer has trouble picking it up. A double for Knobloch to lead off the bottom half of the first.
Now, last year, Derek Jeter, #1, Chuck Knobloch, #2. And, of course, Knobloch was with the Twins then, and pitches seam. I mean, that means they play a lot of games, but they also work the count deep. Knobloch knew he'd get a fastball, 3-2. Turned on it, whipped it in the corner. So the Yankees do what they do best, make the pitcher work hard and then get a base hit.
And that brings up Derek Jeter, hitting 319. Correction, 314 with 5 home runs and 19 runs batted in. As Knobloch leads off second, Jeter squares and fouls it back.
Well, again, this is the example of the little ball. It used to be the Bronx Bombers, with Ruth and Gehrig. Well, they got some guys who can hit home runs, but they also have some great role players that know how to advance runners. Last night they won a 3-2 game, a lead double by Curtis. Brocious hit a ball to the right side to get him to third, and Girardi squeezed. Jeter's job is to get Knobloch to third base.
Infield squeezed at the corners. Second and short back. And there's a high fly ball to deep left center field. Way back at the wall. It's caught by Rusty Greer on the warning track with his back to the wall. So Jeter tried to bunt on the first pitch and nearly took it out on the second.
Aren't too many ballparks in the major leagues that would have held that one. Derek Jeter hit it a ton, but to one of the deeper parts, about 395 feet out there. Knobloch got caught between a rock and a hard place. In retrospect, he probably should have tagged, but he thought the ball was going to get over Greer's head.
It used to be much deeper than that at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that was 457 out in that area. I remember seeing Joe DiMaggio kicking the ground on a few drives he hit out that way.
Unforgettable moment when Al Gianfrido caught that ball in front of the old visitors' bullpen in 1947. And now with one out and one on, here's Paul O'Neill, and he takes a call strike. O'Neill, 3 home runs, 23 runs batted in. The wind is blowing around toward left. But that shot by Jeter was all Derek. 0-1 to O'Neill, a .311 hitter. And O'Neill has seen enough, and he's going to take a timeout.
It's amazing how when you bring up the Gianfrido, all of a sudden the long-term memory sometimes is much better than what happened today. But you remember that sign right in front of where he caught it was 402. And then if we went further out in left center, it was 457, and straightaway center was 461.
0-1 to O'Neill as Bud Rodriguez sets up outside. The ball is outside.
399 now. That's where it used to be, 457 feet to clear that part of the ballpark. So they've shortened the dimension somewhat. It's still a nice short porch in right field.
314 into the right field corner, 316 down the left field corner. Here's the 1-1. Ball 2.
O'Neill's been an amazing story. Never hit 300 in all his years with Cincinnati. But since coming to New York, he has never hit under 300. The difference is he has learned to utilize, like we talked about with Rusty Greer, the entire field. He used to be kind of a dead pull hitter. Now he hits it wherever it's pitched.
2 balls and 1 strike with 1 out in the bottom half of the first. And O'Neill pops it up. In foul territory, Tatis makes the catch, 2 out.
Now, that's the pitch that's turned it around for Rick Helling. The great off-speed pitch with good deception. He didn't have that pitch in the past. O'Neill was way out on the front foot.
First pitch, number 24.
You see Paul way out, just waving at it. No advance by the runners. So the Yankees, on the ball that Jeter hit, had Knobloch tagged up, he could have advanced to third. But it didn't seem to matter as O'Neill couldn't get him in anyway.
Here's Tino Martinez hitting .333. And he takes a call strike. Now one of the most popular Yankees among the Yankee faithful here in the Bronx. It wasn't that way when he first arrived, having had to replace Don Mattingly. And he got off to a horrendous start here in New York. But he has found his way, and now he's become one of the most popular players.
Took a road game back in his first year here, 1996. Played a 15-inning game down in Baltimore, and he hit a grand slam homer to win it. And that was when he was struggling at about 150 in May. But that turned it around for his season, and the fans got behind him then.
0-1 to Martinez. And Tino pops it up in the infield. Will Clark makes the call, and the catch, and the inning is over. So the Yankees strand 1. It's scoreless after 1. Juan Gonzalez is due up next.
Mariners above 500 for the first time this year, taking on the Tigers at the corner, and Damian Easley, a 2-run job in the second, his 7th first this month. Tigers have added another one there on top 3-0, Charlie.
All right, Reese, here at Yankee Stadium. It's a chilly night. Not nearly as cold as it was here last night. We had rain here in the Northeast for what seemed like the past 2 weeks solid. And so it has cooled off considerably. However, tomorrow the feel of summer should be in the air. And here is the red-hot Juan Gonzalez. 9 home runs, 48 RBIs. 48 RBIs in 37 games. Everybody's talking about whether or not Roger Maris's home run record might fall this year, and it might well. And there's a high drive to deep left center field, way back, and that is gone. Gonzalez well over the 399 sign for his 10th home run and his 49th run batted in.
He hadn't had a lot of luck against David Cohn batting average-wise, only .231 in the career, but that's his 4th homer, and that was one of those ones that everybody in this ballpark knew when contact was made. 1-0 Texas.
First base, number 22.
Look at the extension. Just take one look, put the head down, and go into your trot.
And that brings up Will Clark. Clark hitting .318 with 6 home runs and 23 runs batted in. Will completely healthy for the first time in 2 years. And he's getting some of his power back as well.
Well, it was the arm injury from 1996 that really limited his power a year ago. This guy's got no problems. All he needs to do is A, stay healthy, and B, have McLemore, Goodwin, and Greer get on base, and he may threaten that Hack Wilson record.
That's a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. So everybody has been talking about the 61 home run record held by Roger Maris. Everybody is also forgetting about Hack Wilson's 190 RBI record that Mr. Gonzalez appears to be in hot pursuit of. 2-1 to Will Clark, and he steps out.
One of the things Gonzalez has done in the last 3 years is stop lifting weights. He was plenty strong enough, go to a lot of flexibility exercises, but he's only played more than 142 games once in his career.
Clark fouls it back. It's 2-2.
Last year, he missed practically the first month of the season because of a hand injury sustained in Puerto Rico. Year before, he missed the early part of the season. So if Gonzalez, and that's a big if, can stay healthy the whole year, it could be fun to watch.
Same thing with Will Clark. And Clark bounds it foul. Will Clark missed 52 games last year with a foot injury and wrist injuries. He was miserable, but still managed to hit .326 despite it all. Fouls it back and out of play. Clark had that same arch injury that has been plaguing, seems to be the new injury in vogue in Major League Baseball. Geronimo Baroa is out. Tim Salmon is just back from the disabled list, but he's nowhere near 100%. Cost Mark McGwire almost 2 years.
Marty Cordova of Minnesota had it last year, so...
And there's a high fly ball. Deep down the right field line if it stays fair, and it is gone. A home run. Back-to-back jack. Gonzalez to left center, and Will Clark down the right field line, just inside the foul pole.
Well, how quickly it can change. David Cohn had a brilliant first inning, but Juan Gonzalez first pitch swinging in the second planted a little seed, and now Will Clark goes to the third deck in right field. A breaking ball, he got all of it, and again, was it going to be fair or foul? And you can see it was clearly fair.
Number 7.
A belated call from first base umpire Don Denkinger.
I don't think he saw it.
Tim Sheeta, the home plate umpire, actually made the call.
Well, it was a good thing that Will Clark also put his head down, and he was about halfway between first and second when Denkinger turned around. sometimes you look up in the twilight and you just don't see it. And I don't think Dinkinger saw that ball.
Pudge Rodriguez with a swing and a miss. It's 1-1. So you've got Gonzalez hitting .331 now with 10 home runs. Clark hitting over .300 with 7 home runs. And Pudge Rodriguez merely the American League's leading hitter at .396. Now it's 1-2.
Charlie, you know the other thing, with 3 decks to survey, when Dinkinger turned around, he can't be sure which deck that ball is going to go in. He may have been looking in the lower or the middle deck, and that ball hits up in the top deck. You go, whoa, wait a minute. He made the right move. He turned around. He didn't know, and then Sheeta helped him out.
Rodriguez takes outside. It's 2-2. Pudge has won 6 consecutive Gold Gloves and 4 consecutive Silver Slugger bats as the best hitter at his position.
Well, Joe Torre was talking about him. Joe, of course, manager of the Yankees and a former catcher in his own right. He says, without a doubt, Pudge Rodriguez is the best all-around catcher he's ever seen, combining the defense and the offense.
Joe came up as a catcher, finished his career as a third baseman. Fouls it back. Count holds it 2-2.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt. Until Mike Piazza came along, Johnny Bench was considered the greatest hitting catcher ever. Yogi Berra right in there, Roy Campanella. But what Bench did over the years, and Bench had the great arm. But Pudge Rodriguez, he won't hit for that kind of power. But Torre says, in his opinion, Rodriguez is the best he's ever seen.
Here's the 2-2 to Pudge. Ball strike 3. So after all that build-up, down he goes. Now let's go to Rhys Davis. Rhys.
Charlie, in Toronto, Roger Clemens came in working on a 20-inning scoreless streak, but Matt Stairs of the A's would take care of that. A scorching RBI double in the third plates Ben Grieve. And Oakland jumps on top of Toronto, 1-0 in the fourth.
Boy, there are a couple of pretty good-looking hitters, Grieve and Matt Stairs.
Yeah, and one guy is a natural, and the other guy is kind of a self-made player, and Matt Stairs.
And here is the late arriving Lee Stevens. 0-1. Lee, with 21 home runs last year, had hit 17 in his previous 4 years combined.
Yeah, I was going to say, I assume you don't mean that he got to the ballpark late tonight.
At the age of 30, Stevens, in just his 4th big league season.
Well, it's an amazing thing. He went to Japan and really learned how to hit over there after everybody else had given up on him here.
Easy ground ball to Martinez. He'll take it himself.
You just never know about a baseball player. I mean, sometimes they start out maybe as a hitter all their career. They never get tremendously better at all. But we saw a shot with Rhys Davis showing Damian Easley of Detroit. I mean, the first 5 or 6 years he played in the big leagues, never hit more than 5 homers. He goes deep 20-plus times last year. All of a sudden, he's doing it. And look at Rick Helling tonight for Texas, 6-0. There's a guy that struggled most of his big league career.
And here's another one, Kevin Elster, who pops it up to short center field. Williams coming on, and it drops. It looked as if Bernie got off to a late start, and then there seemed to be a communication gap between Williams and Derek Jeter.
Yeah, I've been in that position going out in those pop-ups as an infielder. When a ball's up there that long, your job is to keep going for it, but you're saying in the back of your mind, come on, Bernie, call me off. And Jeter all of a sudden sees that the last second Bernie isn't going to get there, so he makes a try for it. The problem is you're afraid you're going to get trampled to death as an infielder running out there with your head up. But quite frankly, that's a ball that Bernie Williams should have caught.
It is not quite dark yet, so there is still dusk here, and oftentimes that creates problems for outfielders and fly balls. So it appeared as if he had gotten off to a slow start in pursuit of the Texas leaguer. And here's Fernando Tatis hitting .247, and Tatis takes the ball outside. The Rangers felt last year that they could afford to trade Dean Palmer for Tom Goodwin and get themselves a leadoff hitter and a center fielder, because they thought Tatis would be their third baseman of the future. They're not so sure now. Call strike, 1-1.
Well, he has been doing a lot of work Johnny Oates sat him down for about, well, basically 10 days. He didn't start. And he kind of went back to school with Rudy Jaramillo, the batting coach. And since he's come back, he's gone 7 for 15. So the early results are in from his tutorial with Rudy Jaramillo.
1 ball and a strike.
What he really tried to get him to do was get his hands in a better position, tell Fernando to think about hitting the ball to right center field instead of worrying about pulling it all the time. And again, results have been good so far.
Foul back and out of play. With that open stance and the bat in the air, he looks like a mini Galarraga.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, and the key, if you're going to stand that way, is you have to close that front shoulder off. And Galarraga does. Right now, Tatis is doing a better job. You have that shoulder open, but when the pitcher delivers the ball, then you must close it and think about right center field.
1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 out in the 2nd inning. And Tatis takes a call, strike 3 across the inside corner. 2 runs and 3 hits, and the Rangers have the early lead. Juan Gonzalez, Juan was gone. So too will the thrill. Bernie Williams to lead it off for the Yankees against Rick Helling in the bottom half of the 2nd inning. Bernie last night with his first home run of the season. It took 120 at-bats to do it. And he had a smile a mile long as he was trotting around the bases last night after he deposited it in the lower deck in the right field stand. And there's a high fly ball to left field. Deep and playable for Rusty Greer in Death Valley.
There was a case right there of Bernie really helping Helling out on the first pitch. That was about eyeball high. Again, the Yankees usually do a pretty good job of making you throw strikes.
Darryl Strawberry, whose career began in New York, in the borough of Queens, and will end in the borough of the Bronx, is still maybe the most popular Yankee of them all. And you just hear the buzz as he steps into the batter's box, and that's a call strike. Darryl, 7 home runs, 18 runs batted in, hitting .286. Up high, 1-1.
Keep an eye on Helling and how he utilizes the changeup. He got 2 big outs in the first inning. O'Neill and Tino popping up on the change.
Darryl is 36 years old now. And what a long, strange trip it's been. He is so remarkably at peace and relaxed. 2-1. Ball 3. Spent some time with him in the locker room today, and recollecting that 10, 12, 13 years ago across town, what a wild child he was. But now at 36, he's a mature man, having been around the block a time or two. 3-2.
Well, Helling missed with a couple of changeups, 1-1 and 2-1, but got the gas past there. Let's see if he goes upstairs with a fastball here.
With the count full. Ball 4.
Tried to go upstairs with it, just got it too high. Again, Helling, what he's done this year is start low in the strike zone with his fastball, show him the change, and then try to go above the belt with the fastball when he's got him thinking changeup. But that time it was way high to Darryl.
Number 28.
One of the triumvirate playing left field for the Yankees is Chad Curtis. Curtis, Strawberry, and Raines are sharing time out there. And it is a testament to all three that there has not been even a hint of controversy. This is one of the more professional baseball clubs you're going to see all year. There goes Strawberry, and it's fouled back and out of play.
Well, again, what Joe Torre continues to do against Pudge Rodriguez, who is probably the best throwing catcher in baseball, they play hit and run. You don't do the straight steal quite as much, but Strawberry has stolen 4 this year, and that's one thing the Yankees have left spring training doing, running.
The Yankees have stolen more bases and have hit home runs. 46 stolen bases on the year. They lead the major leagues in stolen bases. They've hit only 35 home runs. 0-1 to Curtis. Helling checks Strawberry. Not going. 1-1. Pudge is going to throw out 50% of opposing runners. That's his career stat. You got a 50-50 chance if you're going against Pudge Rodriguez.
And that's not good. That's giving away too many outs. It's not good to run unless you're about 70%. Then it starts to pay off for you.
Here goes Darrell. Here comes the throw, and he's out at second base.
Well, I admire the Yankees for staying aggressive, but if you're going to start Strawberry, who obviously doesn't have the speed he did when he was with the Mets, I think you really do have to play hit and run. And either a sign was missed or Darrell just thought, I'm going to give it a shot. Curveball outside. Ooh, man. I guess that's one of those lines, Pudge dares you to run and then shows you why you shouldn't.
Here's the 2-1 now with 2 out. Curtis fouls it off. It's 2-2. So now you see another reason why Pudge Rodriguez has won 6 Gold Gloves in a row. And of course, he also happens to lead the American League in hitting.
Well, he will neutralize one of the Yankees' weapon. That is the speed game.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Just outside ball 3.
The other good thing for Texas right now is they're on a 5-game winning streak. I mean, it was Helling and Seeley carrying almost the entire load. I know you had the John Burkett game on Sunday. He finally pitched well, and Darren Oliver's pitched 2 complete games in a row. So the Rangers starting staff looks good.
Curtis walks. Seeley and Helling have won half of Texas's games. The Rangers are 24-13.
Number 18.
Seeley has 6 wins and Helling has 6 wins. Helling is 6-0. Now here's Scott Brocious. It was one of the more quiet acquisitions of the offseason, but he has filled in most admirably at third base. Hitting .310, he drills it into left field, but right at Rusty Greer. Brocious got it all and has nothing to show for it. 2-0 after 2.
With you and everybody bringing the big wood in Detroit. Mariners and Tigers. Glenn Allen Hill getting into one. A 2-run shot in the third that followed an Edgar Martinez 3-run job. Mariners had a 5-3 lead until Tony the Tiger. Tony Clark, a 3-run blast. His 4th, and the Tigers are back on top. Charlie, we've already had 4 home runs in this game, and it's pretty early.
And we've had 2 here in the Bronx. Gonzalez and Clark back-to-back home runs in the 2nd inning. And that's your 2-0 score as we begin the top half of the 3rd. Todd Goodwin takes a call strike. Goodwin hit his first home run of the year yesterday. His first in 365 at-bats. He's not likely to hit very many more than that all year. A slap hitter. He slaps it to second base. And a quick move by Knobloch to get him, as Goodwin may be the fastest man in all of baseball.
Well, you can see what speed does, though. I mean, that's a routine grounder to the right side, but Knobloch came in and took it on a half hop because he knows if he waited for the ball that Goodwin's going to beat it out. So that speed's going to force some mistakes. When you have to take a ball on a half hop a lot of times, you get charged with an error. But Knobloch wasn't going to lay back and let Goodwin beat out the dribbler.
Here's Mark McLemore, who took a call strike 3 in his first at-bat in the top of the 1st. And he takes a call strike. McLemore has been struggling after a quick start. Mark is now 3 for his last 33 and has seen his batting average drop 74 points. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, you talked about the miseries he had last year. I mean, a big part of his game are his legs on defense and offense. When you get both of these scoped, that's not good, but he's come back very strong this year. 1
ball, 1 strike. So the Rangers figure if they can get a full season out of McLemore and Will Clark, that'll be 120 more games than they got last year. McLemore takes a strike. It's 1 and 2.
Well, the economics of baseball being what they are today, not too many teams can afford to have great depth. The Yankees probably have as much as anybody. But if you have 2 or 3 frontline players and a couple of your pitchers go down, I don't care how good you are, all of a sudden you're not going to be contending.
1 ball, 2 strikes, and 1 out. 2 and 2. McLemore now in his 11th season. He is one of the clubhouse leaders. He is probably one of the least known of the Rangers on the outside. But inside, he is one of the leaders. 2-2. Fly ball into short left field. That's going to be trouble. Coming on is Chad Curtis to make the catch. This Sunday night, it's the Mariners and the Blue Jays at the Sky Dome in Toronto. Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, Jose Canseco. Sky Dome, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll have the game on television with John Miller and Joe Morgan. Kevin Kennedy and I will have it on ESPN Radio, coast to coast. And now here's Rusty Greer. With 2 out, nobody on. Rusty struck out in his first at-bat. And that's a call strike.
Well, Coney's done a good job at keeping the table setters off the bases. 0 for 5 for Goodwin, McLemore, and Greer so far. Couldn't get through the 4 and 5 hitters, though.
Not very many do. 1 ball and a strike. Last year, when Greer hit 193 hits, he was 2nd in the American League in that category. And he skies it into short left field, exactly where McLemore put it, and that's exactly where Chad Curtis made the catch. Nothing across for the Rangers in the top of the 3rd.
Twins Brett Saberhagen looking to go 6-0 to start the season, and Todd Walker greets him rather rudely. A leadoff job in the bottom of the 1st, his 2nd. What a great job Charlie Walker's done filling in for Chuck Knobloch.
Joe Girardi leading off the bottom half of the 3rd, and he takes up and in for a ball. Girardi hitting 200. Girardi and Jorge Posada sharing the catching duties for the Yankees this year, and the Yankees off to their fastest start in 40 years. And a line shot base hit into left field as Girardi leads off the 3rd with a single into left. That's the 2nd hit for the Yankees. Knobloch coming up, and the 1st hit, a double leading off from the 1st hit.
Well, one thing about Helling, if he stays ahead of hitters, he's going to dominate. But when he gets in fastball count, the fastball is still pretty hittable. So when Knobloch got a double on a 3-2 count, Girardi 1 ball, no strikes, figured he'd get fastball, batting 200. When Helling gets on top and can mix his pitches, that's when he's toughest.
Outfield straight away, infield at double play depth. Nobody out in the bottom of the 3rd. And Knobloch off to a slow start. But slowly his batting average is heading toward respectability. At 248 now with the double in the 1st inning. A lifetime 300 hitter. Girardi with no speed to speak of, taking a short lead off 1st. One and one.
Knobloch, a great hit and run man. Willie Randolph going through the signs down at 3rd base. But with Girardi aboard in Rodriguez's arm, you better make sure you put it in play somewhere.
1 ball, 1 strike. In the home half of the 3rd at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. 2 balls and a strike.
This will be the 10th pitch that Chuck Knobloch has seen in 2 at-bats. Again, he knows how to work the pitcher, and that's been a great part of the Yankees' success. Those first 5 to 6 hitters in the lineup really know how to work over a pitcher.
Jeter on deck, O'Neill to follow. Here's the 2-1. Ball 3.
Well, Knobloch's got a fastball count again, even though Helling's got the good change and the good curve. Knobloch not a big power threat, so in this situation, Helling's going to try to throw him his best fastball and say, hit it if you can.
Pitching coach Dick Bosman looking on. As Helling is digging himself a hole. 3-1. Slapped down the right field line, curving foul and out of play. This is the 75th year of Yankee Stadium. And it's showing some signs of age and fatigue here.
Kind of like us.
Yeah, we both have fallen arches.
Yeah. Crowds have been disappointing, no question about it.
There goes the runner, hit and run. Beautifully done by Knobloch, and Girardi will go to third, standing up, big turn for Knobloch. He'll stay put. Runners at the corners and nobody out. Now let's go to Reese Davis.
Charlie Brady Anderson came into the night hitting under 100. He led off the game with a homer against the Indians, and then in the fourth, better start rewriting this story about a man named Brady. His third, second of the game, first multi-homer game since September of '96. Orioles big.
Meanwhile, the Yankees here have something going on the Knobloch hit and run to perfection.
Well, that's a case right there where I think if you're going to be on the cover like McLemore was, you've got to play closer to second base and not leave the spot open. Knobloch's not going to strike out. He's going to make contact. You got to give a little ground, but don't leave so early.
Jeter just missed a home run in his first at-bat. A ball low and away for Helling. He put Rusty Greer right up against the wall in left center field in his first at-bat. And Yankee fans are smelling some blood and are trying to get to Helling.
Not a bad move by Helling just to keep Knobloch honest. Everybody says the play never works. Well, recently we've seen it work quite a bit.
Jeter with 5 home runs and 19 runs batted in. Takes in the dirt, it's 2-0. Paul O'Neill on deck, Tino Martinez to follow.
Helling's been behind every hitter in the inning. 1-0 to Girardi, 3-1 to Knobloch, now 2-0 to Jeter. Rick Helling cannot pitch behind. There are very few pitchers in baseball that can constantly pitch behind in the count.
Jeter thrives with runners in scoring position. And there's a high fly ball to deep left field. Way back at the wall. Season, and the Yankees lead it 3-2, and Dick Bosman quickly to the hill to check with his rattled pitcher Rick Helling.
Well, part of the talk is going to be getting ahead of hitters, because that's what Rick Helling has to do. Coming into this game, he had given up 6 home runs, all of them solo, but he got behind Derek Jeter, who punished him with a 3-run shot. And again, Bosman saying, Rick, what's made you successful this year is strike one. He's gotten behind every hitter this inning, and the Yankees make him pay with a 3 spot.
Derek Jeter, who hit 10 home runs in each of his first 2 seasons in New York, has already hit 6 in just 33 games. Now here's O'Neill. Nothing out of 1. He popped to third in foul territory in his first at-bat. A 406-foot home run for Derek Jeter. He missed a home run in his first at-bat by no more than 3 feet. And now the 0-1. Check swing. Tatis at third. Easy toss. Finally, the first out of the 3rd inning.
Well, Paul O'Neill, who wears his emotions on his sleeve anyway, nothing will tick a hitter off any more than that. Again, we're going to watch Rick Helling getting behind 2 balls and no strikes. I assume the tape operator's going to run it at some point, but he didn't.
But it was a fine-looking pose.
Yeah. Well, anyway, trust us. Helling threw a 2-0 fastball, and Jeter hit it 406 feet.
Here's Tino Martinez, and he takes a ball upstairs. Tino popped to first in his first at-bat.
Tape machine had the same problem that I have sometimes. Vapor lock.
That's called strike 1-1. Tino Martinez with 44 home runs last year. That was the most by a Yankee first baseman since a fella named Gehrig. Big swing and a miss.
Charlie, one of the things that happens, Helling, I'm sure, thinking about this game tonight, goes, I got to get the key outs are going to be O'Neill, Martinez, Bernie Williams, and Strawberry. But what he did, he got out of the pitching pattern to Girardi, Knobloch, and Jeter. He says, well, I'm just going to throw these guys fastballs because I don't want them to, you know, I'm not worried about them. Well, they did a lot of damage, just 2 singles and a homer. So you got to concentrate on everybody in that lineup.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. Bernie Williams on deck. And Tino takes a call, strike 3.
One of those ones where Dick Bosman is probably saying to myself, why did I have to go out and tell him that? He knows what he's supposed to do. But sometimes that visit from the pitching coach does settle you in. He just drops the hook on Tino Martinez right there after beating him with a high fastball the pitch before.
That brings up Bernie Williams, who finally hit his first home run of the year last night. Now in his 7th season. That's called strike. And there are those who feel it will be his last season in the Bronx. There's already been talk of some underhanded deal in Arizona. And there's a line drive base hit into right field. So the Yankees, with their 5th hit of the night, and that brings up Darryl Strawberry. Darryl walked in his first at-bat, hitting .286. 7 home runs, 18 runs batted in. Williams with good speed and a good lead. And it's a ball. Bernie has 7 stolen bases on the year. The 1-0. Line drive, base hit into right field. Williams will stay put at second base, not daring to test the arm of Juan Gonzalez.
Another behind in the count. 1 ball, no strikes, and Helling keeps coming with that fastball to try to get even, and the Yankees are lying in wait for it.
That's the 4th hit of the inning for the Yankees.
You can throw a fastball when you're behind in the count if you can paint the corners. But Rick Helling, kind of a 4-seam guy right over the top, has been in the middle of the plate when he's thrown his fastball 4 strikes.
That brings up Chad Curtis. Curtis walking his first at-bat. Chad hitting .321. The Yankees have so many weapons.
One of the things that Joe Girardi, the Yankee catcher, did when he was in Colorado, he had a lot of pitchers that were not power pitchers, so he called a lot of breaking balls when his pitchers were behind in the count to establish the breaking ball. He's carried that over to New York. So far, Pudge Rodriguez, every time it's been 1 ball, no strikes, has gone fastball. Let's see if he does it again here. Nope, he finally came back with a hook, and you could see Curtis was sitting all over the fastball.
1 ball and 1 strike to Chad Curtis. Al Levine loosening up in the bullpen. Rookie right-hander. Curtis, who leads the American League with a .459 on-base percentage. 1-1 with 2 out. Fly ball into right center field. That could be trouble, but it's cut off at the pass by Juan Gonzalez. The Yankees score 3 in strand 2. It's 3-2 after 3. Gonzalez will lead it off in the 4th. Hits for the Yankees, 2 runs and 3 hits for the Rangers. And Juan Gonzalez, who led off the 2nd inning with a monstrous home run about 430 feet away. his 10th of the season. Leads off here in the 4th with Clark and Pudge Rodriguez to follow. First pitch of the 4th from David Cone, who is staked to a lead for the first time tonight. Gonzalez in his first at-bat got it all. Ground ball, foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Always a big inning after your team has rallied to give you the lead for the pitcher. So let's see what David Cone can do after the Yankees rally for 3 to give them a 1-run lead.
If Gonzalez can only stay healthy. Last year, despite missing 30 games, still hit 42 home runs and 131 RBIs. Takes it in the dirt. It's 2-1. Juan has not played in more than 140 games since the 1992 season. In 7 full years in Texas, he has averaged 36 home runs and 110 runs batted in. That's a fair ball down the left field line. Gonzalez on his way to second base. We may have a play at second base, and he is safe. Chad Curtis with a tremendous throw, but Gonzalez just did beat it.
Curtis got a very favorable carom. I thought Rick Reed made an awfully quick call at second before Gonzalez even touched the base. I'm not saying that he wasn't safe, but I thought that was an awfully fast call. Gonzalez finds just inside the line past Brocious. Third base umpire Brian Honora, and Gonzalez goes, whoa, I didn't get a very good bounce on this, but you can see Gonzalez was in there, but what we couldn't see in that shot, Rick Reed calling him safe. Maybe we'll see it here. Safe. Yes. Bang, bang. Umpire got it right.
Now here's Will Clark. Clark with a fly ball down the left field line and fouling out of play. 0-1.
Well, as professional a hitter as Will Clark is, that was not a good swing on strike 1. With nobody out, he's got to pull the ball on the right side. You can't be flaring something off the left field.
That was quite a slide by Gonzalez to avoid the tag of Knobloch. Everybody did it right on that play. Here's the 0-1. Grounded foul. Gonzalez running all the way. Curtis getting a good carom. Great throw. And Gonzalez with an excellent slide to beat the tag. No balls and 2 strikes to Clark. Will with the home run, his 7th of the season, now 24 RBIs and hitting .323. One and 2. Hard to believe that Clark's 5-year contract comes to an end after this year in Texas.
Well, it's important, obviously, for him to stay healthy. 5 disabled lists in the last 2 years, and if he wants to get an extension, he's going to have to prove to the Rangers that he is healthy.
Missed 52 games last year. The 1-2. It's now 2-2. Appeared in 5 All-Star games while with the Giants, but 1 with Texas. From 87 through 91 in San Francisco, Clark averaged 27 home runs and 104 RBIs. In Texas, he's averaged just 13 home runs and 74 runs batted in. And that's a clean single into right field. Gonzalez is being sent home, and he's going to score standing up. And that ties the score at 3 on the clean single into right by Clark, his 2nd RBI of the night.
Well, again, David Cone's done a wonderful job of keeping the table setters off base. He has retired the top 3 guys in the order both times, but he can't get Gonzalez and Clark out. We said Clark had a bad swing at the first pitch, but he made up for it the next 2. David Cone keeps wanting to throw him that off-speed pitch. Clark has a home run and a single off the slider to show for it.
So Clark and Gonzalez tonight have combined for 4 of 5 Texas hits and have scored 3 of their 4 runs. Now here's Pudge Rodriguez, who struck out. Took a call strike 3 in the 2nd inning. Pudge now hitting .393, and he takes low and away for a ball. In his last 7+ games, Rodriguez is 5 for his last 29 and has seen his batting average drop about 60 points. 1 ball, 1 strike. He went fishing.
Well, again, you see Girardi, 1 ball, no strikes. Pudge sitting all over fastball, but Girardi will call the breaking ball a lot of times when that pitcher's behind a ball and no strikes. Then if you get that across for a strike, then you can come with a fastball because you've planted in the seed in the mind of the hitter that you can get that breaking ball over. Again, Rodriguez only 1 time last inning when the pitcher got behind, went off speed.
Keeping Clark close.
I mean, as good as Jorge Posada has been offensively, last year the Yankee pitchers had about a 1.5 better ERA with Girardi. So offense is important for that catching position, but handling pitchers is also very important.
Whacked foul. The Yankees, of course, have had a history over the years of sharing catchers. People forget 1961, the 3-headed monster of Berra, Howard, and Blanchard combined for 63 home runs. So the Yankees in 61 had a right fielder who hit 61, a center fielder who hit 54, at a catching position that had 63 home runs.
Yeah, but Casey was able to, Ralph Houck was able to stick some guys in some different positions too.
And on the 1-2, it's going to be a 5-4-3 double play. Scott Brocious starts it. Knobloch the middleman, and Martinez finishes it up.
Well, what a wonderful turn. Brocious gives Knobloch a good feed. Chuck can't get much on it because Clark's in at his feet, but they just barely got Rodriguez at first base. Great feed by Brocious. Gave Knobloch something to work with, and I'm not too sure first base, but the out was called.
Don Denkinger, the first base umpire.
Yeah, I think Blanchard and Yogi Berra had some outfield time during
Played
that
a lot of
season,
left
too.
field in 61. When Mazeroski hit the home run in 60, it was Yogi Berra who saw it disappear over the Forbes Field left field fence. There's Don Denkinger. Lee Stevens, 0-1. Lee bounced to third in his first at-bat. One ball, 1 strike. Now he's in a hole, 1-2. We're tied at 3 with 2 out in the top of the 4th. Scott Brocious, who has solidified the Yankee infield on the left side. You talk to the Yankees and to a man, they're surprised at how good he is every day. You see him in highlights every now and again. Here's the 1-2, and it's now 2-2. But all of the Yankees we were talking to today were raving about seeing him play every single day, doing the little things. Defensively and offensively, Brocious is hitting .310. Just outside.
Well, there's an axiom in baseball. If you're going to get a good player in a trade, you're going to have to get him after an off year. Brocious's average went down 101 points last year. One thing I'm not sure some of the Yankees are aware of is how versatile he is. He's an outstanding outfielder, especially center fielder.
The 3-2, and Stevens stays alive.
But with the makeup of this Yankee team, chances are, unless they have a lot of injuries, he's going to be firmly implanted at third base. But for Oakland, he played short, second, third, left field, center. Extremely versatile. He really knows how to play the game.
3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs to Lee Stevens. Elster on deck. Swung on and missed, strike 3. We won't see Elster until the top of the 5th. But first things first, the Yankees with Brocious, Girardi, and Knobloch due up in the 4th.
Davis with you. Red Sox and Twins. Brett Saberhagen feeling Minnesota, and so far it's painful. Terry Steinbach taking him out, his second. Walker homered earlier, and the Twins are on top of Saberhagen 3-0, Charlie.
Scott Brocious to lead it off for the Yankees in the bottom half of the 4th. And Brocious squares and takes a ball. Brocious flied to left in his first at-bat. Helling struggled in the 3rd inning. And he has struggled with his command tonight. He's 6-0 coming into the game. Brocious with a base hit into left field. So Scott Brocious delivers the Yankees' 6th hit of the night.
Well, I hate to sound like a broken record, but 1 ball, no strikes. Again, a fastball caught by Pudge Rodriguez. And the Yankees, every hit they've had except one tonight has come when Helling's fallen behind.
And now here's Joe Girardi. He singled in his first at-bat. The Yankees with 7 base hits now. 3 runs, 7 hits for New York. 3 runs, 5 hits for Texas. Girardi squares as they scamper in from the corners, and he takes a ball.
Joe Torre is liable to do anything right here. Girardi, in addition to being a good bunter, also excellent at the hit and run. So don't be too surprised if Torre switches up and goes to hit and run.
One ball, no strikes. And he grounds it to short. This should be an easy double play. 2 out, and now nobody on as Girardi on the 6-3 double play.
Well, Rodriguez again called a fastball on a fastball count, but that time Helling located the ball much better. He got it away from Girardi, and that was a tailor-made double play to Kevin Elster. Ranger defense with Elster back at short vastly improved over a year ago when he moved on to Pittsburgh for a year and then came back this year.
And the Ranger outfield has yet to make an error all year. Knobloch takes a strike at the knees. Chuck is 2 for 2, a double and a single and a run scored, and now he's lifted his batting average to 253. Knobloch off to the slow start, but not anymore.
1996, Rangers won the West, went to the playoffs against the Yankees. They were #1 in the American League in defense after being horrible for years. Elster left last year. They fell all the way down to 9th. With Elster back, they trail only Tampa Bay in the American League right now in defense.
0-2 to Knobloch. Speaking of defense, as you take a look at Kevin Elster, Chuck Knobloch won his first Gold Glove last year.
Good buddy down the way, Jim Cott, used to work together at ESPN, used to say the reputation the Texas Rangers had for years was they'll always give you 31 outs a game. A very poor fundamental defensive team, but they have improved greatly under Doug Melvin and Johnny Oates.
Ground ball to second base. McLemore with the play, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3, and through 4. We're tied at 3.
Angels and White Sox, and you Comiskey. Chad Kreuter. That's a scorching one down the third base line. RBI double. Kreuter, 3 of his 7 RBIs have come against Anaheim. Velarde's answer with a home run is 2-1 White Sox as they play in the top of the 3rd.
Randy Velarde back a lot sooner than the Angels thought. He's coming back from that reconstructed elbow. Meanwhile, here in New York, here's Kevin Elster. 0-1 to Elster in the top half of the 5th. Kevin with a single into center field. His first at-bat lines it right into the Yankee dugout. And there are some scampering white pinstripe uniforms down there. And he's headed. A hot cup of coffee. Elster hitting .246. 5 home runs and 21 runs batted in. Here's the 0-2. Takes the ball. Kevin Elster had just one of those seasons in 1996 when he hit 24 home runs and knocked in 99 runs. Never before or since has he had a year like that. Here's the 1-2. Foul tip. And I asked him, what was that all about? And he said, having played in the National League all those years, it's a whole lot more difficult to do anything offensively when you're batting 8th. The pitcher is coming up next. That year he batted 9th, and he's got the leadoff hitter following him, and he was getting to see better pitches. Here's the 1-2. Takes under the dirt, 2-2. And then he promptly said, you know, I was pretty near the all-time home run record for Met shortstops. And so I asked, you were in hot pursuit of Elio Chacon and Bud Harrelson and Roy McMillan? Here's the 2-2. Call, strike 3.
Yeah, as a hitter, when a pitcher makes a pitch like that, David Cone, a slider, outside corner to knees, your best bet, take it, hope the umpire misses it, otherwise just kind of tip your cap and say, I'll get you next time. Here's Jeter rang up.
Here's Fernando Tatis. That's the 6th strikeout for Cone in 4 1/3 innings. 5 for a ball.
Okay, let's see what Cone might do here. 1 ball, no strikes. Again, Girardi has a tendency to call breaking balls when his pitcher's behind in the count. Up went fastball down.
2 balls and no strikes to Tatis. Top of the order on deck, Tom Goodwin, and then Mark McLemore. Wind blowing slightly toward left field. Tatis fouls it off to the right side. Now to play, 2-1.
Well, Coney's done a pretty good job of handling everybody except Gonzalez and Clark. He has 6 strikeouts on the game and very little else in the hit department. Gonzalez with a home run and a double, Clark with a home run and an RBI single.
Strike 2. One of the raps against the young third baseman Tatis is that he strikes out too much. He has struck out 25 times this season and walked only 4 times. And now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's the 26th strikeout of the season for Tatis and the 7th K for Cone.
High gas from David Cone. And Tatis drew air, so he came back from a 2-0 count, just blew him away.
Andy Jeffrin report to the Yankee lobby.
You see that even though he closed off the front shoulder, again, he opened it up too quickly, and Rudy Jaramillo will probably talk to him about that.
Tom Goodwin, nothing out of 2. Goodwin squares and takes a ball. Goodwin, the fastest man in baseball. On a drag bunt, he has been timed at 3.2 seconds to first base. The 1-0. Slapped into left field. Easy play for Chad Curtis. The inning is out, and the Rangers are out in order. Halfway home, we're tied at 3. Got ourselves a good ball game here in the Bronx. Charlie Steiner along with Dave Campbell. And here's Derek Jeter, who homered in his last at-bat. Deep over the 399-foot sign in left center field. And for Jeter, that was his 6th home run of the season. Narrowly missed a home run in his first at-bat as Rusty Greer made the catch against the wall in left center. And Jeter takes under the knees, ball 1. Derek now hitting .317 with 6 home runs and 22 runs batted in. Upstairs, 2-0. So the Yankees 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up here. Paul O'Neill on deck, Tino Martinez to follow, and Bernie Williams should anything keep going. All strike on the 1996 American League Rookie of the Year. 2-1.
Helling's starting to make a little better pitches in fastball counts. Went outside corner again. He made a good pitch to Girardi on the double play ball last inning.
Just inside, ball 3. So the Yankees, who look at more pitches per inning than any other team in baseball, they wear other pitchers out. The 3-1. Strike 2.
Another good location by Helling on a fastball count. Still think that's why the Yankees beat the Braves in the '96 World Series, even though they didn't have Knobloch then. They really worked that Braves pitching staff.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Foul back and out of play. Three runs, 7 hits for New York. 3 runs, 5 hits for Texas. Neither team has made an error. Here's a 3-2 again from Helling. Ball 4. They are making Helling work. The Yankees with a record of 25-7, off to their best start in 40 years, and they are having trouble drawing crowds to the big ballpark in the Bronx, celebrating its 75th anniversary. Last night, just 16,000. And how ironic it is that some 35 years ago, Red Barber asked his television producer to show the empty crowd. It cost Red Barber his job. Now, the Yankees, and George Steinbrenner in particular, want to see these empty seats in his pursuit to build a new ballpark, most likely on the west side of Manhattan.
Yeah, George has the luxury of having the best local television contract in baseball. I mean, I'm not saying the boss wants to lose money, but in order to get that new stadium, every time the Yankees don't draw, it just proves a point to the city officials.
0-1 to O'Neill. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bottom line is, night games in the Bronx, there are still a lot of New Yorkers who do not want to come into this neighborhood. They consider it dangerous, and they just don't want to come and park their cars and stay.
1 ball, 1 strike, and nobody out here in the bottom half of the 5th. Helling checks and delivers. That's called strike 1 and 2. Coming off the crowd of 16,000 last night, Steinbrenner even issued a press release tonight saying he was disappointed in the crowd, said something is very wrong, and the Yankees are politicking hard for a new ballpark. And when things fell out of the sky here, line drive down the left field line, that's going to be a base hit for O'Neill. Jeter on his way to third. Jeter is going to hold up at third. He slips and falls in an overthrow, and he's lucky to get back at third base. Derek Jeter was held up by Willie Randolph at third, and then he slipped on the grass, and had there been a good cutoff throw, he would have been dead to rights at third. Instead, it's now second and third for the Yankees, and nobody out.
Well, Derek did a pretty good job of coming around third base under control, but because of 12 consecutive days of rain that ended yesterday, the feet go right out from underneath them. Elster did not notice that Jeter had slipped and fallen. Had he done that, he could have thrown to third, and they could have nailed him easily.
Pitching coach Dick Bosman out for another emergency consultation with his young right-hander Rick Helling.
And we talked about it in O'Neill's first at-bat, the fact that he never hit 300 in the National League. In the American League, he's never hit under 300, and that's a perfect example of why. Took the outside high fastball and just lined it to left field. There was a time in his career where he would roll the wrist over and just hit a pop-up or a weak grounder to second.
Kevin Elster and Paul O'Neill knew one another when each was in the National League. Elster with the Mets, O'Neill with the Reds. And now Tino Martinez. Tino is 0 for 2. Second and third, nobody out. Outside, ball 1. Al Levine, the rookie right-hander, continues to warm in the bullpen.
Rick Helling 6-0 this year because he's been able to throw strike 1. He's been behind a tremendous number of Yankee hitters tonight. 1 ball and no strikes to Tino Martinez. Last year, Martinez set the record for most runs batted in the month of April with 34. The record lasted exactly 1 year. Juan Gonzalez drove in 36 in the month of April this year. And now a free pass for Martinez that's going to load the bases for Bernie Williams. Well, we'll have to see how this strategy works out. To be honest with you, I don't like it very much from the standpoint you're not going to get much of a respite with Bernie Williams and then Strawberry. So Johnny Oates trying to play for the double play to blunt a big inning, but we'll have to see how it works out. With this Yankee lineup, I don't want to put the extra guys on base that I don't have to.
And just a right-hander, Al Levine, warming up in the bullpen. Scott Bales and Eric Gunderson are the left-handers in the bullpen, but they are sitting and watching. And here is Bernie Williams, who's had a pretty fair career when the bases have been juiced. Bernie hit his first home run of the season last night. Popped up into short left field. Greer coming on, coming on, coming on. Foul ball. There is practically no room, as you can see, down the left field line in foul territory, or in right field for that matter, here in the Bronx.
So Rusty trying to size up where he is. Tries to make the sliding catch. Brian Honora, the third base umpire, really hustling out there right on top of the play to make the call.
That's the third base umpire, Brian Honora, in his first year. Nothing in one to Williams. Everybody's standing here in the Bronx. There's a high fly ball to deep right field. Way back, and it's gone. Grand slam home run, Bernie Williams. Intentionally to pitch to Bernie Williams, and he responds with a grand slam home run.
I guess. Again, Helling had given up 6 homers this year, all solo. Tonight, he gives up 2 home runs, a 3-run and a grand slam, and Bernie knew it.
Came into the game with a record of 6-0. He's trailing 7-3. Bernie Williams with his second home run in as many nights.
Darryl Strawberry wasn't going to get in the box until Bernie Williams came out for a curtain call.
Darryl knows something about curtain calls here in New York. 7-3 Yankees. Call strike 1.
Well, again, I didn't like the intentional walk to Tino with the way this lineup is set up. And Johnny Oates and the Rangers paid for it.
A sky-high pop-up in the infield. Tatis called off by Elster. So that's the first out of the inning.
I mean, there's definitely times to walk people intentionally, but when you got Strawberry coming in behind Bernie Williams, who's a 300 hitter and has always thrived against the Rangers, I didn't really see the advantage in that move. .410-foot grand slam home run for Bernie Williams has given the Yankees a 7-3 lead, and Chad Curtis takes a strike. Curtis flied to right and walked in his first 2 plate appearances. Ball, 1 strike, 1 out. There's something about the acoustics in this place. Or just, there's a high drive into left field, but right at Rusty Greer. Curtis hit it hard, but right at Greer, 2 out. Well, I often think from our position, this overhang above us kind of traps the noise in. A little bit like Shea Stadium, too, but hey, it's New York. It's supposed to be loud.
And with 2 out, now nobody on, Scott Brocious. Brocious 1 for 2 tonight. Has lifted his batting average to .313. Brocious in a trade where both teams did well. Kenny Rogers has got his career back on track in Oakland, and Brocious has hit just .203 last year, hitting .313 this year. His average will drop a notch as he pops to short to end the inning. But 4 runs for the Yankees on the grand slam home run by Bernie Williams, and through 5, it's 7-3 New York. McLemore to lead it off for the Rangers. Now finding themselves in a 4-run hole. And McLemore with first pitch swinging, grounds it to short. 1 out in the 6th. So David Cohn, after giving up 2 runs in the 2nd and another in the 4th, in command. They could only get Gonzalez and Clark out tonight.
1996, one of the keys to the Yankees World Championship, they turned it into a 6-inning game. If they led after 6, their record was unbelievable. These 2 teams this year, the Rangers, when they lead after 6, are 21-0. The Yankees are 17-0. Kind of looks like whoever's leading after 6 is going to win this game.
The 1-0 to Rusty Greer. It's 2 balls and no strikes. And you've got 2 of the preeminent firemen in all of baseball. And Greer fouls it back.
Well, they were both a huge part of the 96. Rivera in the 8th, Wetland in the 9th. School was out. But right now, the Yankees setup guys of Holmes and Stanton and Nelson are setting it up for Rivera. And that's why they're turning it into a 6-inning game.
Greer fouls it back. It's 2-2. Well, the Yankees really have a very solid pen with Holmes and Nelson from the right side, Lloyd and Stanton from the left side, and Mariano Rivera. And the seldom used Willie Banks is out there as well. Greer into the left field corner and deep, and a fair ball. That will be a double for the red-hot Rusty Greer.
And just like Paul O'Neill, we talked about using the whole field. Rudy Jaramillo about a week ago told Rusty Greer, hey, those 193 hits you got last year were all over the park. Quit trying to pull so much. So Greer takes the high breaking ball and dusts the line down in the corner. Curtis gave it a good run, but the ball just barely fair.
Greer is now 8 for his last 17 with that base hit. And here is Juan Gonzalez. Gonzalez with his 49th RBI of the year on a towering home run in his first at-bat and a double in his second at-bat. So Gonzalez now hitting .339. 10 home runs, 49 runs batted in. If Gonzalez can only stay healthy, that is the big proviso. He has not played in more than 140 games since 1992. Up high. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Again, you see the pattern Girardi uses. He started Gonzalez off with a sweeping breaking ball. Gonzalez a bad swing, so Girardi and Cohn have planted the seed of the breaking ball. Then they tried to pound the fastball in. It was just off the plate.
1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. And there's a high fly ball to left field, deep. Back at the warning track, Rusty Greer, or rather Chad Curtis makes the catch, and Rusty Greer goes back to second base. Gonzalez didn't miss that by much, and he didn't even hit it all that hard.
No, it looked like he hit it with 1 hand, but if you get it inner half, the only thing that saved Cohn is he got it a little bit away from him. You see, Gonzalez had to reach for it. Ooh, and just missed it.
So Juan didn't miss his second ding-dong of the night by much. And here is Will Clark. Like Gonzalez before him, he's 2 for 2. Gonzalez has to sit, and Clark takes a ball. Will singled to right in his first or last at-bat and homered to right in his first at-bat.
See if David Cohn stays away from the slider. Both times Clark's hit the slider for the homer and the single. Let's see if he goes fastball splits.
The 1-0. Big swing and miss. 1-1.
Got that one down. So again, breaking ball behind in the count. 1 ball, no strikes.
Darren Holmes, the right-hander. Graham Lloyd, the left-hander in the Yankee bullpen. Cone checks Greer with 2 out. Sky high pop up in the infield. Derek Jeter calling off Brocious. The inning is over. 1 hit for the Rangers. They strand 1 after 5.5. 7-3 New York. Al Levine, rookie right-hander, on in relief of Rick Helling. Helling lasted 5 innings, gave up 7 runs, all of them earned, gave up 9 hits, walked 4, and struck out 1. Levine was called up last week and making his first appearance with the Rangers.
Came over from the White Sox in an off-season deal. That was the one that sent Benji Gill on to Chicago, where he was supposed to be the shortstop. But Benji right now playing in the minor leagues. Laurie Thomas, a left-hander, also came over with Levine in that trade.
Levine had 5 appearances in Oklahoma City, where he had an impressive ERA of 2.57 in 5 relief appearances. So the rookie right-hander will be facing Joe Girardi, and then the Yankees top of the order, Knobloch and Derek Jeter. 1 ball and no strikes to Girardi, who is 1 out of 2 tonight. Single, scored a run on Jeter's 3-run home run, and then bounced into a double play in his second at-bat. Swing gonna miss. It's 1-1.
Well, I think Girardi's big contribution tonight has been in his pitch selection. I mean, you're only as good as your pitcher. You can put down the right fingers, but the Will Clark at bat last inning, 1 ball, no strikes, off-speed pitch, and then Clark's thinking off-speed, pound him inside with a fastball. Girardi's strength is really kind of the thinking part of the game.
Roberto Kelly is due back off the disabled list any day now, and when he comes back, Al Levine is ticketed back to Oklahoma City, so this may be his only appearance up here for a while.
And just to conclude the thought, you can be the most brilliant signal caller in history, but if you don't have pitchers that either have good stuff or be locate, it's not going to do you a lot of good. But when you have a good staff, a catcher can make a great deal of difference.
The 2-2. Checks his swings as Don Denkinger down the first baseline. Joe Girardi was Greg Maddox's personal catcher back in 1992 in Chicago, when Maddox won his first Cy Young Award. Johnny Oates, pretty good catcher in his day. Fly ball center field. Easy play for Tom Goodwin. 1 out, nobody on. Now let's go to Reese Davis.
All right, Charlie, the Angels and the White Sox. Albert Bell had just put the Sox up 3-2. Top of the 4th. Big Daddy getting into one. Cecil Fielder, his 6th. He's starting to swing that good bat, hitting .339 in his last 16 games. We're all tied in the 4th.
Cecil got off to the slow start in Anaheim, admitting that he was pressing for his new team in his hometown. But not anymore. Knobloch, 2 for 3 tonight. A double and a single, and he's now hitting .251. That's call strike. Knobloch off to the slow start, but slowly and steadily he has been raising his batting average to .303 last year in Minneapolis.
I wonder how Johnny Bench feels when he reads that Chuck Knobloch got his early start in baseball hitting off the Johnny Bench batter-up tee.
2 balls and a strike, foul back. Well, I had that sensation the other night watching David Bell, remembering him 20 years ago in the Indian clubhouse, hanging around Dad Buddy.
A lot of that going around right now in my career.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And Knobloch with his 3rd base hit of the night, a clean single into right field.
Good high ball hitter. Levine left it right up in his eyes, and Chuck that great inside-out swing. So he's getting going. Bernie Williams is starting to hit homers, getting scary for the Yankee opponent.
Jeter with a home run. Bernie with the grand slam home run. And the Yankees with 7 runs and 10 hits.
Yeah, I mean, not that the Yankees were really concerned about Knobloch and Bernie Williams, nor David Cohn for that fact, although he did have the knee tweak, but all 3 of those guys have performed brilliantly tonight.
Jeter with the home run, his 6th of the season in the 2nd inning. And Derek with a little bounder to 3rd. Tatis has but 1 play. 2 out here. Let's go on to Reese Davis, find out what's going on there.
Charlie, the Braves are just pounding the Cardinals. It's 8-2. They're just trying to tie that major league record for consecutive games with a homer, and Ryan Cresco gets it done. He had already hit one off the top of the wall and narrowly missed it. They tied the 41 Yankees and the 94 Tigers 25 in a row. It's 10-2.
Well, they got a laugher at Bush. And now Levine has seen his work come to a conclusion. And we're going to take a break right here. 7-3 Yankees, still in the bottom half of the 6th. Anderson now on in relief for the Texas Rangers with 2 outs in the bottom half of the 6th. And Chuck Knobloch at second base.
Johnny Oates, because his starting pitchers had done so well the last week or so, getting his pen some work with left-handers Paul O'Neill, Tino Martinez, the switch hitter Bernie Williams, and Darryl Strawberry, a lefty, coming up. He's going to get Gunderson some work here, and obviously he'd like to keep the score where it is, with the Yankees leading by 4. He doesn't want to see Knobloch score.
Gunderson with an ERA of a half a run has pitched 8 scoreless innings in his last 7 appearances. In 15 appearances, he's given up just 1 walk. And his ERA of .50 is the lowest among all American League relief pitchers.
I was just thinking about Atlanta tying that major league record of the Yankees and Tigers with 25 straight games. A year ago, all the talk was how Atlanta wasn't going to be able to hit home runs because of Turner Field. The ball wasn't carrying there. Obviously, they've played a lot of home games during this streak. Galarraga has shown that he was not just a Coors Field hitter, which if you ever watch Galarraga play, which I have over the last 4 years, usually when he hits home runs, they're well in excess of 400 feet in any ballpark.
So here's Paul O'Neill, lefty versus lefty. And O'Neill tonight is 1 for 3. A double in the 5th inning, and he scored on the Bernie Williams salami. 2 out, Knobloch at second in a 7-3 ball game. Gunderson, murder on left-handers, 0-1.
Now, that's a matter of O'Neill looking very bad on the sweeping breaking ball, but Paul is showing the ability to make the adjustment during an at-bat. That doesn't mean just because Gunderson keeps throwing that curve out there that he's going to flail away like that. Let's see what kind of an adjustment he might make.
The 0-1 to O'Neill. 0-2.
Now that's nasty. When you start off with that big sweeping breaking ball, O'Neill says, okay, I'm going to give in a little bit, take you to left field, and then he pounds him with the gas inside and hides the ball so well. Now Paul's going, emergency stance time.
Which way did he go? No balls and 2 strikes to O'Neill. The Yankees with a 4-run lead with 2 out in the bottom of the 6th, and Gunderson steps off the run. O'Neill over the past 3 years has averaged 101 runs batted in. But no match for Eric Gunderson. The Yankees fail to score in the 6th as we head to the 7th. David Cohn, as we begin the 7th inning, has thrown only 87 pitches tonight. And he has pitched well. And so he is on his way to his longest outing of the year. Came into the game with an ERA of over 6.61. Yet a 4-1 record.
You mentioned the Yankees average over 18 pitches per inning when they're hitting. Against Rick Helling tonight, it was about 16.5, but that was enough to cause Helling's down.
And Pudge Rodriguez, first pitch swinging. Gone, a home run. Right down the left field line. Pudge Rodriguez, a notorious first ball swinger, got it all. And so it is 7-4 as Rodriguez hits his 7th home run of the season.
I'll tell you, that was no cheapie. That one went into the mezzanine on a rising rocket. So Mel Stottlemyre immediately is going to go out and talk to David Cohn.
Designated hitter, Lee Stevens.
Watch this ball get into that mezzanine level. Boom.
The way Yankee Stadium is constructed, with so little foul territory either down the left or right field lines, on high fly balls down the line, it is nearly impossible with the naked eye to see whether or not the ball is fair or foul. So you have to lean out of the press box and look at the monitor, and even then you're not entirely sure. And you have to look at either the first or third base home run or umpire, whether or not he has made the call of the home run.
Well, we talked about Rick Helling. All 6 of his homers coming in were solo jobs. Tonight, the Yankees get 7 runs on 2 homers. Meanwhile, the Rangers have hit 3, but they have been all solo against David Cohn.
Lee Stevens, nothing for 2 tonight, is now hitting 252. Big swing and a miss. So David Cohn has much bigger fish to fry tomorrow. Tonight he has been pitching with a heavy heart. His mother is to undergo surgery tomorrow. Stevens fouls it. His mother was diagnosed as having a mass on a lung. They believe it to be benign, but they're going in, and our prayers, of course, with David Cohn and his family. And tonight he has found sanctuary on the hill here at Yankee Stadium. 2 balls and 2 strikes. As outgoing as David is, that is how private his mom is. That's Jeff Nelson in the bullpen. And so she has been embarrassed by all of the news of her upcoming surgery. But Cohn has been in this town a good long time with both the Mets and the Yankees, and is a very popular personality in town here. Foul back and out of play.
Well, some guys have not been able to handle New York. And baseball fans know Eddie Whitson had problems here. Kenny Rogers, not just a couple. But David Cohn has thrived on this city. He loves it.
And there's a high fly ball into short right field. Out goes Knobloch. In comes O'Neill. O'Neill hauls him off and makes the catch. Chuck Knobloch, small-town guy from Texas. That's going to be all for David Cohn, as Joe Torre now has emerged from the Yankee dugout, and his night is over, and the entire Yankee infield comes in to pat David Cohn on his back, and I am sure he will shower quickly, get a standing ovation from all the fans here at Yankee Stadium, and quickly head to Sloan Kettering Hospital to be with his mom tonight. Jeff Nelson on his way in when we come back. .31-year-old Jeff Nelson on in relief of David Cohn, who stands to win his 5th game of the season if the Yankees can hang on to their 3-run lead with 1 out here in the top half of the 7th. Nelson, with a record of 1-0, making his 18th appearance of the season and an ERA of 2 3/4. David Cohn, the competitor that he is never happy about being yanked out of a game. But he pitched a solid game considering all that he has gone through, not only tonight in the past week or 2, but this season.
Well, he didn't beat himself tonight. Didn't walk a man. He struck out 7. Left a couple of pitches in the middle of the plate, and the Rangers are a great hitting team. But David Cohn, disappointed. Not the kind of guy that likes to give up 4 runs in a game. He did pick a good night, though, because his offense has gotten him 7.
Kevin Elster is 1 for 2 tonight, and he takes a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Mentality of a great pitching staff is that they want to go out and pitch as close to a complete game as they can, because each one of the 5 starters takes it upon himself to get the bullpen some rest. So when you go less than 7 full, then you're usually disappointed if you're really a competitor. And David Cohn has never been accused of not being a great competitor.
Coney on his way to his 5th win of the season if his Yankee bullpen can maintain the lead, and that's something they have been most adept at this year. Yankees with a record of 25-7, having won 78% of their games. They're 10-1 at Yankee Stadium this year. And Jeff Nelson is just murder on right-handers. That's high, 2 balls and a strike. Last year, right-handed hitters against Nelson hit a .168.
Getting in my lifetime numbers now.
Just outside, 3-2 to Elster.
Jeff Nelson's the kind of guy that could have made my lifetime even lower than it was, coming from the side. That's 6'8", coming from the side. That's a pretty good pitch. Tim Sheeta's had a great night tonight. Might have missed one there.
Just outside, ball 4. Don Denkinger says Elster can come on down. Now let's go to Rhys Davis for an update. Rhys?
All right, Charlie, let's go back to Toronto. Roger Clemens had already given up 1 in the 8th. He's down 2-1 when Jack Boyd drills one deep part of the yard. Couple of men on. Giambi and Spezio both score. It's 4-1. Sean Green got 1 back. It's 4-2 in the 9th.
Those A's are a pesky bunch. Fernando Tatis is a scheduled hitter, but he is not going to hit. Luis Alicea will hit for him.
Pretty good job, I think, here by Johnny Oates. Tatis has been on a pretty good roll of late. He hadn't done very much tonight, striking out a couple of times. But when a guy has been hitting better like Tatis, and he's a young player, give him a little protection against a guy you figure, Jeff Nelson, he's not going to be able to handle very well.
And, of course, Alicea, switch hitter, can bat from the left side and will have more of a fighting chance against Nelson, who is murder on right-handers. Ball under the knees, 1-0. Alicea, a .239 hitter. 286 from the right side, just 231 from the left. And so Tatis's night is done. 1 ball and no strikes to the veteran Alicea, an angel last year. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He was an angel in the infield.
Yes, he was. Played second base last year and has been seeing a lot of time at third base, sharing it with Tatis. The 1-1. Outside, ball 2.
Nelson seemed to be a little unnerved on that 2-2 pitch to Elster, which Tim Sheeta might have missed. And again, Sheeta's had a terrific night behind the plate. Very few looks from any of the hitters or the pitchers, but sometimes pitchers get unnerved by one questionable call by the umpire. He's got to settle back in and focus here.
Nelson, who led the Yankees last year with 77 appearances, already making his 18th appearance this year. Alicea drills it deep into the right field corner. 1 hop to the wall. Elster on his way to third. Throw to second base. He's safe there. Second and third with 1 out. On the pinch double by Luis Alicea.
Well, another count where Jeff Nelson got behind and Joe Torre immediately goes out. He may want the left-hander now with Goodwin coming up and the switch hitting McLemore in behind.
And so Jeff Nelson unable to do the job, walking Elster and giving up the pinch double to Alicea. And that is all for the big right-hander. 7-4 Yankees. We'll be right back.
Go to Colorado Rockies have been awful at home. Just 4-11 hosting the Cubs. Jose Hernandez had already put the Cubs up 1-0 with a homer. And then it's Sammy Sosa going the other way. Came in hitting .322. He drives in Brant Brown, and the Cubs are on top 2-0, Charlie.
And here in the Bronx, Mike Stanton is now on in relief for the Yankees, making his 17th appearance of the season, a record of 2-0. He's pitched 18 2/3 innings, giving up 8 earned runs, 14 hits, walked 5, and struck out 17. What we are seeing here tonight in the first of a 2-game series in the Bronx are the 2 leading hitting teams in the American League. Coming into the game, the Rangers had a team batting average of .303. The Yankees were second, hitting .293. And here comes 6'5", 240-pound Mike Sims to pinch hit for Tom Goodwin.
Well, Johnny Oates pulling all the strings early in this one. No sense saving your pinch hitters for late, because he thinks he's got an opportunity to get back in it right now. And Sims, like Lee Stevens, his counterpart from the left side, kind of a late bloomer, but he's done a good job for Texas the last couple of years.
Hitting .435 in limited duty. In 23 at-bats, he has 10 hits, 2 of them home runs, 1 double, 10 RBI. And that's a ball upstairs. Mike Sims was taking batting practice the other day in Arlington with a cutoff shirt, and his arms were rippling like a lumberjack or a blacksmith. Large man, built like a linebacker. Foul back. And the ball was jumping off his bat in batting practice.
You know, again, there's guys like Lee Stevens and Mike Sims. They got an opportunity early in their career to sign a professional contract. Slow rise to the major leagues, not a lot of success, but they kept plugging away. And they've made themselves bona fide major league players.
And so Sims now is the tying run at the plate with 1 out. Big swing and a miss. It's 1-2. Mike Stanton, who has struck out 17 in 18 2/3 innings, now has Sims in a 2 strikes to the ball hole. Second and third. Let up, strike 3. Man, that was nasty.
Well, again, Girardi plays such mind games with these hitters. He beat Sims with a fastball 1-1. And so if you're a catcher, you're thinking, as the hitter, you think, well, I got to tune up the dial to hit that fastball, and then whoops, drops the hammer on you. Just frozen. Backdoor curve and a beauty.
Joe Girardi.
Love the way he calls the game behind the plate.
Here's Martin with McLemore, nothing out of 3 tonight. He takes a ball downstairs and in. McLemore took a call, strike 3 in his first at-bat, fly to left and bounced to short, and has seen his batting average drop to 300. McLemore in a prolonged slump. Takes under the knees, 2-0.
Again, Girardi on a fastball count, called off speed, didn't miss by much. If you can keep major league hitters away from hitting fastballs on fastball counts, you're generally going to be pretty successful.
That is 2 balls and no strikes, and this would be a fastball count. Ball strike.
Good spot. Fastball counts are first pitch, 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. Those are, especially in the younger development in the minor leagues, a lot of guys don't have confidence to get the breaking ball over.
The 2-1. On the inside corner again. McLemore, who is 3 for his last 35. As they are wont to do at Yankee Stadium with 2 strikes, they're standing, and McLemore bursts out of his slump with a 2-run single into center field. It's a 7-6 game.
Made 2 great pitches, 2-0, 2-1, and then got a fastball out over the plate. And McLemore breaks out of his slump to bring the Rangers back within one. Big hit for McLemore. Looked like Stanton was going to get out of it with some great pitching, but one little mistake, and McLemore made him pay. Boom. Let him get his arms extended.
And that brings up Rusty Greer. Greer 1 out of 3 tonight. And Gonzalez on deck. And Clark to follow. Rodriguez after that. But there are 2 out. Just outside for a ball. Rusty now hitting .273. Foul back, 1-1. In his last 7 games, Greer has lifted his batting average from .237 to .273.
Well, an example of a major league hitter, Mark McLemore. He sees Stanton make 2 great pitches on him, but pretty good theory going around that in every at-bat you'll see 1 pitch to hit. He finally did, and he hit it.
Ball 3.
Big time trouble for Stanton right now with Gonzalez on deck. Obviously Stanton won't face him, so he better get Greer. We will see the 4th Yankee pitcher of the inning.
3 balls and 1 strike, 2 out. And Greer is the lead run at the plate. Swung on and missed, strike 2. Darren Holmes is warming up in the Yankee bullpen, the right-hander. A lot more managerial maneuvering than you would ordinarily see in an American League game today. Greer fouls it back and out of play. With Sims and Alicea already pinch hitting, and the Yankees having gone through a couple of pitchers, as have the Rangers beside their starters. The 2 leading hitting teams in the American League are belting each other around. Hard hit to second base. Knobloch's got the ball and the play, and the inning is over. But the Rangers make a game of it again, scoring 3. 7-6 in the 7th inning stretch. Into the home half of the 7th inning. Yankees with a 1-run lead as the Rangers got back into it with a 3-run 7th. Mark McLemore with a 2-run single, the big hit. And on Sunday, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Boomer, Dan, and Bob will be hosting the 20,000 90-minute special edition of Sports Center. And it's quite remarkable. 20,000. What a long, strange trip that's been.
You've done a few of those.
Figured it out not too long ago. I guess somewhere about 2,200 of them. It's about 10%. And Boomer was there. And Bob's done, I guess Bob's done about 4,000. Dan's up around 2,000. Chris did his 2,000, I'm sure. And here is Martinez with a fly ball to right field. That brings up Bernie Williams, and in his last at-bat, Bernie Williams with 1 home run on the season, doubled with a grand slam home run, 406 feet away. They intentionally walked Tino Martinez, and oh, what a mistake that was.
Well, it's a 1-run game right now, and I mean, I'm sure Johnny Oates had his reasons, but again, with this Yankee lineup, especially the middle of it, unless you're planning on making some pitching switches, you're not really getting out of the frying. Not out of the fire. You're just getting deeper in there. You're just getting deeper in.
Either way, you're going to get hurt.
No way. You're just going to get hurt.
The Yankees have 6 hitters tonight hitting 300 or better in their lineup, and Bernie takes a ball.
By the way, Alicea stayed in at third. Sims went to left, and Greer goes to center. Those are the defensive changes for the Rangers.
The Yankees can win any old way.
They'll stretch that out to 1- and 2-run games. They're 12-1. easily the best in baseball, but just about every record they have, night games, day games, home games, road games, turf, grass, they have the best in baseball.
Yankees have won 10 of 11 here in the Bronx. They're 21-0 when they lead after 6, as they've done tonight. They're 20-0 when they scored 4 or more, as they've already done tonight. And Birdie takes a strike. It's 2-1.
Good changeup from Gunderson. 2 balls, no strikes. Pudge going off speed on a fastball count.
The way this season has gone for the Yankees, 25-7. They can win by football scores and they can win by soccer scores.
Yeah, it was a week ago tonight. It was 15-13 against the same Texas Rangers, and then last night a 3-2 game. The Yankees just seem to be really a professional team that knows what it takes to win. Obviously, in baseball, over the course of 162, you're going to lose at least 60 no matter how good you are, unless you just are like the New York Yankees and the New York Giants, Cleveland Indians 1954. But most of the time, you're going to lose 60 no matter how good you are.
The old prevailing theory is everybody starts the season at 60-60, and is what you do with the other 42 games. That spells the difference.
And the other thing, the 2 best records in the history of baseball, the Cubs of 1906 and the Cleveland Indians 1954, both lost the World Series.
54, of course, as Williams takes the walk. The year of the Willie Mays catch.
Dusty Rhodes. Giants come in and sweep the Indians in 4 after Cleveland won 111 games.
And it took pretty near 40-something years for Cleveland fans to get over it. And Rock Raines is going to pinch hit for Darryl Strawberry.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Just give you some idea of the depth on this team. Darryl's going to take a seat. Rock Raines is going to pinch hit for him.
Jim Raines, number 31.
One of the things Joe Torre was lamenting a little bit before the game tonight is because so many of his players have been playing well, he hasn't gotten some at-bats for guys like Dale Swaim, a guy, the switch hitter that has come over to add depth to this team. Luis Sojo hasn't played very much. Homer Bush, you hardly ever see him. So even though they do have a lot of depth, right now the club is playing so well, Joe's almost afraid to make any changes.
And what is so interesting about this Yankee team is that with all the veterans, and they understand how good a ball club they've got, there is no moaning in the locker room at all. They understand their role, and they are perfectly happy. Of course, winning 25 of 32 will bring a smile to anybody's face. So here's Tim Raines hitting .311 with 2 home runs and 11 runs batted in. Raines takes it down and in for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, there's so many professionals on this team. You hearken back to the '96 World Series. Tino Martinez had knocked in 121 runs that year, but he really wasn't swinging the bat very well. And when they went down to Atlanta to play 3, Cecil Fielder played all 3 at first base. So Tino, he didn't say anything. He just took his World Series ring and said, "I'll do better next year."
Cecil Fielder, on the other hand, last year, he complained a lot, and he's gone.
Yeah, see you in Anaheim.
And so a lot of those who are not happy in their roles last year, Charlie Hayes being another one, gone. And Raines, in his 18th season, takes 3-0.
One of the things I like right now about baseball, and there certainly are some problems, but the New York Yankees and the Atlanta Braves are 2 tremendous teams, and they also have a terrific bunch of guys on the teams. I mean, that's not the case with every team, but they really have some good guys.
3 balls and no strikes, and that's a called strike. 20 years ago here at Yankee Stadium, one of the great ball clubs of the century, the '78 Yankees, coming from behind as they did, the Bucky Dent home run in Boston, winning the World Series from the Dodgers, was about the nastiest locker room you'd ever want to walk into. There were fighting factions from one end to the other. Foul ball off to the right side, now to play. There was Reggie. There was Thurman. There was Nettles. And then you had Billy Martin. And you just did not want to walk into that locker room. But once they got out on the field, that was another story.
Well, I think a lot of the credit has to go to Joe Torre and his demeanor, but don't forget, also, Buck Showalter kind of got things turned around here, and he wanted professional players with professional attitudes. And really, this Yankee resurgence began around '93.
And that's ball 4. And so Bernie Williams doesn't have to bother to slide. And so now it's first and second with 1 out. And that brings up Chad Curtis and brings out Johnny Oates. And that's going to be it for Eric Gunderson. 7-6 Yankees in the bottom of the 7th. ESPN's Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by John Deere, who invites you to see the new LT-133, the only lawn tractor with a past as bright as its future. Tim Crabtree now on in relief for the Texas Rangers. And for Crabtree, his 13th appearance of the season. In 14 2/3 innings of work, he has given up 9 earned runs, 16 hits, walked 5 and struck out 9. And an ERA of 5.5. And he gets to face Chad Curtis and Scott Brocious and Joe Girardi if things keep going. First and second with 1 out, the bottom of the 7th.
Former Blue Jay Crabtree came over in a deal earlier this year out of Michigan State University.
Came over for Kevin Brown. Not that Kevin Brown.
The other Kevin Brown, the catcher Kevin Brown.
3 home runs, 20 RBIs for Chad Curtis. And he takes inside for a ball. Guess it's tough going through a career being the other whatever.
Kevin Brown. Amazing one. There's 2 guys in baseball right now named Jeff D'Amico. Not related. One's in the Oakland organization. Of course, the other one with Milwaukee. He's on the DL right now with a bad arm.
One ball and no strikes to Curtis. Crabtree 6 feet 7 inches. Here's the pitch. Grounded to first base. Clark throws to second, on to first. Safe. Curtis beat it out. Crabtree covering at first. So it's 2 out on the fielder's choice.
Well, again, just a little thing to keep the inning alive. Curtis hustling down the line, just barely beats the relay from Elster. Good hard slide by Raines. That made Elster step aside a little bit. Didn't get quite as much on the throw as he would like. And you see Curtis just barely beat it. Now, Brocious can get a hit here. Again, that'll just be one of those little things. Actually, 2 little things. The hard slide by Raines and the hustle by Curtis have prolonged the inning.
Brocious tonight is 1 for 3. He singled in the 4th inning. Flied to left and popped to short. Brocious takes low and away for a ball.
And even if he doesn't get a hit here, it extends the batting order to the point where, you know, Girardi would lead off next inning. They might pinch hit for him, but then you get a better chance to get back to the middle of the lineup next inning.
The 1-0. Brocious takes under the D's. Kenny Rogers, for whom Brocious was traded, was so happy to get out of New York and toil in the relative anonymity of Oakland. Brocious, on the other hand, couldn't wait to get out of Oakland and be surrounded by the stars here in New York, and has elevated his game again to where it once had been. Brocious takes a strike. It's 2-1. Brocious hit a paltry 203 last year, but in '96 he hit 304, and he's capable of hitting home runs. He had 22 in '96 in Oakland. 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs. Runners at the corner, 7-6 Yankees. Brocious fouls it off to the right side, 2-2.
Brocious also led the American League in batting with men in scoring position in '96. So again, if you're going to make a trade for a guy, he probably wouldn't have been available last year. Certainly not for Kenny Rogers anyway. But after the season last year, with Brocious having the bad year, more expendable.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners at first and third. Crabtree gets the sign, delivers, foul tip. Scott Brocious from Milwaukee, Oregon. Never saw a major league game in person until his first spring training camp with the A's back in 1988. But the Yankees rave about his consistent defensive play at third base. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Crabtree checks and delivers. Down low, ball 3. There goes the runner. We're going to have a play at the plate. And now Williams is hung up at third base. The throw, and he is tagged out at third by Alicea. The double steal fails in the Yankee 7th inning. They fail to score 7-6 after 7. Yankees nursing a 1-run lead. Darren Holmes, the right-hander, is now on in relief for the Yankees. And Holmes is making his 12th appearance of the season. He's pitched 13 1/3 innings, given up 4 earned runs, struck out 10, walked 7, and brings in a 2.70 earned run average.
Well, you know he's tough after pitching in the pitcher's purgatory, Denver, for 5 years. He survived that, and that's a tough place to pitch. There's no question about it up there in Mile High City. But Darren Holmes, good fastball, good overhand curve, slider. If he's got them all working, he is really tough. He's got a great breaking ball.
So the Yankees now have 3 relievers left in the bullpen. Willie Banks, a right-hander, Graham Lloyd, a left-hander, and Mariano Rivera.
Well, I mentioned to you during the break, I was just about to say last half inning that in some instances the Yankees might try a double steal in that situation. But then again, I thought, well, with Pudge Rodriguez, they probably won't try it. Well, they did try it, and Rodriguez showed them why they shouldn't have.
And the Rangers still have 4 pitchers remaining in their bullpen. Left-hander Scott Bales and 3 right-handers, Xavier Hernandez, Danny Patterson, and John Wetland. Texas has but 2 bench players remaining, Domingo Cedeno and Bill Hasselman. The Yankees have 4 bench players remaining, Homer Bush, Luis Sojo, Dale Swaim, and Jorge Posada. And so that brings up Juan Gonzalez, who smacked his 10th home run into a far distant place, about 420 feet over the left center field fence, into the bullpen area in the 2nd inning. And he takes a ball. Gonzalez 2 out of 3, hitting .338.
Holmes gets the breaking ball over in a good spot. He can get Gonzalez out. But he's missed twice, and he's down 2-0.
The Rangers have won 5 games in a row. They won 3 of 4 from the Indians. Gonzalez fouls it off.
Well, this task shouldn't be too daunting to Texas. Again, last Wednesday they were down 9-0. They battled all the way back to 13-13 before losing it. They'd hate to come back again. They've already scored 3 in the 7th and fall short.
7 runs, 10 hits for the Yankees, 6 runs and 9 hits for the Rangers. Neither team has made a miscue. Outfield straightaway and deep, and Gonzalez fouls it back. Will Clark on deck, Pudge Rodriguez to follow.
Well, Holmes got even with a fastball that sailed and then a high fastball. Again, his best pitch is, he calls it a slider, but it looks as much like anybody's curveball as you ever want to see. Let's see if he gets it here.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Gonzalez leading off the 8th. Foul back and out of play.
Came with the gas again. That one was down Broadway, but that's, if you're 2-0 on Gonzalez, he probably hits that out. But because he was guarding the plate a little bit, 2 balls, 2 strikes, Holmes was able to get it past him just enough for a foul.
Check swing. Don Denkinger says you have another pitch to look at. In his 7 full seasons in Texas, Gonzalez has averaged 36 home runs and 110 RBIs a season. And he's yet to play more than 140 games in the past 5 years. Foul back and out of play. But he has taken off about 25 pounds. He is far less bulky. Worked with a personal trainer in the offseason, more on being explosive rather than bulking up, and it has paid off handsomely. Here's a 3-2, and again, foul back and out of play.
Well, when he was pushing the barbells, he got up as much as 255. But back in 92 and 93, when he hit 40-plus home runs, he wasn't that big. It sometimes amazes me when these guys get big and strong, they don't seem to be content to hit them, you know, 450. They want to hit them 550. Mark McGuire.
3 balls and 2 strikes. We do it again. Popped up into short center field. Williams coming on, and Jeter calls him off to make the catch.
Well, Holmes picked a good time to finally get his first breaking ball over. He dropped the slider on him, and it was in the middle of the plate. Gonzalez out on the front foot.
First baseman, Will Clark.
And here's Will Clark, who's 2 for 3. Clark with his 7th home run of the season. He and Gonzalez hit back-to-back home runs in the 2nd inning. Will now hitting .326. And Gonzalez pops it into short left field. Chad Curtis is there to make the call and the catch. 2 out. So Holmes quickly retires Gonzalez and Clark. And that brings up Pudge Rodriguez. Pudge hit a home run down the left field line. In his last at-bat in the 7th, he's 1 for 3. For Rodriguez, his 7th home run of the year and his 29th run batted in, now hitting .394.
Well, Girardi must have a thought here, because Holmes all of a sudden is in a pretty good groove. Usually a catcher will let that pitcher go ahead and continue to work, but I think he just wants to get a little thought process across to Darren. They were together for 3 years in Colorado, so they certainly are aware of each other. And maybe Girardi was told to stall, and Torre coming to the mound. Maybe he wants Rivera for 4 outs. So that's what Girardi went out for. Torre gave him the motion to stall, and they want a pitcher.
Joe Torre says, good job. Thank you very much. Parting gifts for Darren Holmes. Mariano Rivera making his 10th appearance of the season. He has yet to give up a run. In 9 2/3 innings, he has given up 3 hits, struck out 6, hasn't walked anybody.
A lot of differences, of course, between the American and National League, but here's a perfect example with the number 8 hitter due up for the Yankees in the bottom of the 8th inning. Brocious, pitcher, would be hitting in the 9 spot. Unless you were going to make a double switch, very few National League managers would come out and make this move at this point, because they figure, hey, Holmes got 2 guys out, get another guy out, I'll pinch hit for him, and I'll have Rivera for the 9th. But that's just one of the little subtle differences in the league.
And so with Pudge Rodriguez coming up and having hit a home run in his last at-bat, the league's leading hitter facing the league's leading fireman with 2 out and nobody on. 7-6 Yankees. Rodriguez works out of the stretch, and that's a strike right down Broadway. Rivera last year became the man when John Wetland signed with Texas. And he adapted perfectly. Just upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Talk to scouts around baseball, and they still seem to be amazed that Rivera gets people out on a consistent basis. But, hey, it's 95 miles an hour with an easy motion. That ball really gets on top of hitters in a hurry.
Down the right field line, foul. 1 and 2.
Throws about 90% fastballs, although Joe Torre said his slider's been getting better with each outing.
Last year, in 66 appearances, he converted 43 of 52 save opportunities. And Rodriguez fouls it off deep, but foul. Coming into the season, Rivera in 246 and a third innings had recorded 249 strikeouts. And now it's 1-2 to Pudge Rodriguez, and Rodriguez is going to step out. Lee Stevens is on deck. Here's the 1-2. Down the right field line into the corner. One hop off the wall. Rodriguez on his way to second base with a double and 2 outs.
Well, Pudge, who came in with his first little minor slump of the year, 5 for 28 now with a homer and a double his last 2 times up.
Designated hitter.
Joe Torre is having one of those nights. Obviously, the Yankee skipper, we were talking to him tonight. I said, hey, secret? He says, getting out of the way. But every move he's made tonight, he brought in Nelson. He didn't get the job done. Stanton gave it up. Then he brings in Holmes, who does get the job done. He makes the switch to Rivera. But as a manager, you make the moves you think you should make, and then it's up to the players.
And then in the bottom of the 7th, he had a double steal that got Chad Curtis caught in a rundown. Swung on and missed strike 1.
And you know what about Joe Torre? If the Yankees manage to lose this one, he'll be the first guy to say, I screwed up.
Lee Stevens is nothing for 3 tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Yankees have Brocious, Girardi, and Knobloch due up in the bottom half of the 8th. Just inside and low, 2-1.
Right now, Rivera throwing more pitches than Torre was hoping. He had Rodriguez down in the count, and then Pudge took him out 2-2. Fouled a couple off. Now he's behind Stevens. Pitch count's important for a closer, especially if you want to use him again tomorrow.
2-1. 2-2. The Yankees have only Graham Lloyd and Willie Banks left in the bullpen. The Rangers have the left-hander Scott Bales warming up in their bullpen. 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rodriguez leading off second base, tying run in scoring position. Grounded up the middle, cut off by Knobloch. He's going to throw Stevens out, and the Yankees are out of the inning. The Rangers threaten as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Charlie Steiner along with Dave Campbell as we head to the bottom half of the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium in New York, and the home team leading by 1. And with the Yankees leading and the Red Sox trailing in their game, the Yankees now are just an inning away from expanding their lead to 4.5 games. And you have to feel for the Red Sox. They have done everything conceivable. They've won in magical and mystical ways this year, and they keep losing ground.
Yeah, and with Nomar out for anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks, I mean, that guy, I mean, Mo Vaughn is, the heart and soul of the Red Sox and has been, but Nomar Garcia-Parra is one of the great players in the game. And, sometimes you can go through a 10-game span. I mean, like the Yankees went through 15 days with Rivera on the DL and never blew a save, but other times it catches up with you immediately.
Scott Brocious to lead off against Tim Crabtree here in the bottom half of the 8th. Brocious is 1 for 3 tonight, hitting .310. First pitch of the bottom of the 8th. Check swing. Ball 1.
I could care less.
So we're seeing a lot more managerial moves tonight than you normally would see in an American League game.
Yeah, I agree.
inside, 2-0.
Well, the co-managers of the year in 1996, Joe Torre and Johnny Oates, matching wits here tonight. I think each of them, if they had things to do over, probably wouldn't do it the same, but they have to make the first guess. But I do not think I would have walked Tino Martinez intentionally, and I'm not too sure I would have taken Darren Holmes out in that situation the way he was pitching, but
Ball 3.
I don't get a vote. Doug Melvin down in Texas and George Steinbrenner did not ask me to be their managers, so I don't get a vote in this situation.
The Yankee Brain Trust. That's a call strike. And Pudge Rodriguez tonight, a home run and a double. The American League's leading hitter. 6-time Gold Glove winner. 3-1, ball 4. So Brocious leads off the bottom half of the 8th. Brocious has stolen 2 bases this year in 3 tries. But again, when you have somebody like Pudge Rodriguez, the man with the golden arm, not likely to run now unless it's some kind of a hit and run. Here's Joe Girardi.
We'll
1 for 3.
We'll see if Joe probably plays for a run and has the bunt in order here.
Yeah, he does. That's a ball as Girardi takes back. Girardi with 4 RBIs on the year, and that's Willie Randolph. Second baseman for the Yankees for so many years, and the bench coach for the Texas Rangers was his shortstop partner, Bucky Dent. And Girardi bunts it foul. That was a pretty good second base shortstop combination. There's Joe Torre flashing the signs to Willie Randolph, who in turn is flashing the signs to Joe Girardi. And Girardi is still giving him the once over.
And that's a good thing. I mean, that's a veteran move by Girardi. Sometimes the sign is early, but if the hitter or the runner turns away as soon as they see the sign, somebody trying to steal the sign on the bench is aware, well, it must be this very early in the sequence which sign it is.
2 balls and a strike as Alicea and Clark rush in.
It's the same way with some pitcher on the mound, a man on second base. If the catcher's going to give like 5 signals, and all of a sudden after the second signal the pitcher comes into his stretch, doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that, hey, it's the first or second signal. Then you just, if you're a base runner trying to steal signs, you just kind of catalog that and look for what the next pitch is going to be.
Brocious leading off first. And there he goes, hit and run down the first baseline and just foul. First base coach Jose Cardinal trying to plead his case to Don Denkinger.
Well, again, Joe not afraid to try some things. He knows Girardi can handle the bat. He had a favorable count at 2-1, so they switched up from the bunt to the hit and run, and Girardi didn't miss the bag by much.
Don Zimmer.
Zim saying, yep, good move, good move. Of course, Zim a riverboat gambler anyway. I think sometimes Torre has to temper the enthusiasm with Zim.
Spent a lot of time with Zim tonight. 2 balls and 2 strikes. An original Met in '62. Foul back and out of play. Don Zimmer, now 67 years old, and 50 years in Major League Baseball. He was a player with the Dodgers in Brooklyn and LA, the Cubs, the Mets, the Reds, and Senators. A manager with the Padres, the Red Sox, the Rangers, and Cubs, and a coach with the Expos, Red Sox, Cubs, Giants, Rockies, and Yankees. He has seen pretty near everything. And here's the pitch, grounded over the glove of Will Clark. Brocious will go to third on the hit and run, and it's first and third and nobody out. Some fancy hitting by Joe Girardi.
A lot of calls in the New York area that Jorge Posada, who's a fine hitter, ought to be the regular catcher for the Yankees every day. But Joe Girardi does so many little things as a player, defensively, hit and run, bunt, Those things for a club like the Yankees really do pay off. Posada's going to get playing time, and he will be the catcher of the future for the Yankees, and he's getting a lot of playing time this year, but Girardi's not ready to go out the pasture yet.
And now the Rangers are in a hole. They trail by a run. Yankees with first and third and nobody out. And the infield is in for a play at the plate. And Chuck Knobloch, who handles the bat well. And Knobloch takes the ball inside. Chuck tonight has 3 hits, a double and 2 singles, and has lifted his batting average to .258. The Yankees with a record of 21-0 when they've led after 6. And Knobloch takes inside and high. It's 2-0. Derek Jeter, who hit a home run tonight, is on deck. Paul O'Neill to follow. Tino Martinez after that. Bernie Williams after that. The Rangers are in a heap of trouble. Knobloch, the key hitter in this sequence now. The 2-0. Call strike just across the inside corner. It's 2-1.
That's the difference between Knobloch and a home run hitter. Home run hitter gets 2-0. They look for something in to rip. Knobloch was looking for a ball out over the plate to try to hit to right center field and up. He's a situational hitter. Crabtree made a good pitch on him.
2 balls and a strike to Knobloch. Leaning over the plate. Drilled into center field. Base hit! Over the outstretched glove of Kevin Elster. And so by having the infield in, it costs the Rangers a run.
Well, it's one of those you just get beat because you had to play the infield in. It was all set up by the walk and then the hit and run by Girardi. Crabtree made a fairly good pitch in on the hands of Knobloch, but it was a little up. And Elster just helplessly going back and kind of flailing away. So the Yankees have added an insurance run here.
With the infield in on the lip of the grass, a little humpback single over the outstretched glove of Kevin Elster, and it is now 8-6 Yankees. And still nobody out. And that brings up Derek Jeter. Jeter with a home run, his 6th of the season tonight, a walk. Fly to left and bounce to third.
Well, let's see what Torrey does here. He could bunt, although pretty sure you'd see the left-hander Bales coming in to pitch to O'Neill and Tino Martinez. But it could be Joe would go for the bunt to try to set up a couple of more insurance runs.
Elster and McLemore at double play depth. Alicea at third and Clark at first are in on the grass. And a ground ball. It's going to be an infield hit. Kevin Elster could do nothing but eat it.
Now, just the threat of the bunt had Alicea playing in at third base, and that was enough just that he couldn't get it. It would be a double play ball. Deflected it to Elster. But now with the bases loaded, nobody out, Johnny Oates wants the left-hander.
Alicea, who was in, had no chance, and all Elster could do is hang on to it. And Johnny Oates said thank you very much to Tim Crabtree. Scott Bales is on his way in, and he'll face Paul O'Neill with the bases loaded and nobody out. 35-year-old Scott Bales now on in relief. Bales making his 12th appearance of the season with a rather hefty 6.30 earned run average, giving up 7 earned runs in 10 innings of work. He struck out 9 and walked 4. Bales, an interesting story. Mired in the Blue Jay farm system in 1993, he retired. That was it. And it was more than 5 years between major league appearances. Between 1992 and then with Anaheim last year. He came back. He's pitching semi-pro ball at home. Decided to give it one more shot. And so now with the bases loaded and nobody out, infield in for a play at the plate, and here's Paul O'Neill, who is 1 for 4 tonight. A double. And right back to Clark. Play at the plate for one. Back to first. Double play. So Scott Bales, 1 pitch and 2 outs.
Paul O'Neill pulled off the breaking ball just a little bit. Nice play by Clark. He gave Rodriguez a throw he could handle. And back to first for the 2-3 double play.
Tino Martinez.
Perfect throw to Rodriguez.
And so now runners at second and third and 2 out. And here is Constantino Martinez.
I do think that Brocious might have done a little better job of sliding at the plate, trying to get a shot at the legs of Rodriguez.
And with 2 out, Martinez takes a strike.
Charlie, you and I were talking to Joe before the game today, and one of the things he said about his team is, well, we don't strike out very much. Well, they've only punched out 2 times. This inning, there hasn't been a ball hit hard yet they do have a run in and are threatening for more.
Nothing in 1. Nothing in 2 to Martinez. Tino tonight is nothing for 3 and an intentional walk. He was walked to load the bases in the 5th inning, and Bernie Williams responded with a grand slam home run. In retrospect, that might have been the turning point of this game. No balls and 2 strikes to Tino Martinez, hitting .325. Here's the pitch. Popped up. Mark McLemore is camped under it and makes the catch, and the inning is over. Now the Rangers have 3 outs left. Kevin Elster, Luis Alicea, and Mike Sims are due up. So Mariano Rivera in the market for his 7th save of the season. And he will be facing Kevin Elster, Luis Alicea, and Mike Sims in the top half of the 9th inning. The Yankees with a big insurance run in the bottom of the 8th that takes the Rangers' chances of a sacrifice out of their hands now. Elster tonight is 1 for 2 and a walk, hitting .244. Home plate umpire Tim Cheetah as they look down the left field line. The Mets and Padres are coming up right after we are done. That's a call strike. Mets haven't been able to buy a break. They're getting rained at everywhere, up to and including San Diego.
Yeah, what have they got, 9 guys on the DL? Maybe it's a blessing, though, if a lot of those games are going to be played later on, although they play San Diego, too, tomorrow.
That's a swing and miss. Nothing in 2. No balls and 2 strikes to Kevin Elster. Alicea on deck. Bob Carpenter and Joe Morgan will have the call of the Mets and Padres from Qualcomm. Just outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mets in desperate need of a catcher. Picked up Rick Wilkins yesterday from Seattle for a minor league pitcher. 1 and 2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. So Elster strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. And that brings up Luis Alicea.
Well, a couple of clubs that, if things stay pretty much the same, figure to maybe have a chance to meet in postseason again. Right now, the Yankees won 2 down in Texas, have the upper hand in this one. This has been an entertaining game, well played, a lot of home runs. Been a good ball game.
This copyright telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The account description may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Disseminated. It's a new line for this year. So if you're doing it, you're under arrest. 1 ball, now 2 balls and no strikes to Alicea. Alicea pinch hit for Fernando Tatis in the 7th inning and doubled. Here's the 2-0. Down the first baseline, off the glove of Tino Martinez and into the crowd for a ground rule double. So Luis Alicea, 2 for 2 and 2 doubles. And now Rhys Davis. Rhys?
Charlie, you mentioned we get to the Mets and the Padres, and we will, and the Mets get themselves a break. Carlos putting the bye into Baerga. A 3-run job in the top of the first, and the Mets have jumped on San Diego 3-0.
Mets have been waiting for 2 years for something like that to happen with Baerga.
Yeah, Joey Hamilton continues to have horrible first inning problems, and Dave Stewart, the pitching coach, is starting to lose patience. Hamilton figures to be their #2 starter behind Kevin Brown, but he's had the first inning blues all year.
You don't want to make Dave Stewart cranky.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Here's Mike Sims, and he takes up high for a ball.
They scored that a base hit. Last night, Tino got hooked with 2 errors, dropping pop-ups. Normally sure-handed. That ball got past him. It was a tough in-between hop.
He was handcuffed. Sims hitting .417 with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. At 6'4" and 240, he's got a good deal of power. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's the fastball from Rivera. It's up in your eyes. It looks big, but you just don't catch up with it.
It's one of those optical illusions as a hitter. When you see that ball right in your eyes, you think you can hit it, and you never do.
Not when it's 95.
1-1. And Sims will have to wait as Rivera gets Alicea back to second. But Alicea really is inconsequential with the Yankees leading by 2. 1 out in the 9th inning. Up high, 2 balls and a strike. At 6 feet 4 inches, a pitch that is high to Sims is really high. Facially, he looks like a young McGuire, doesn't he?
Yeah, a little bit. He looks a little bit like Dean Palmer, who used to be here in Texas. Pretty good trade last year for both teams. Palmer's gone over to Kansas City and played very well, and Tom Goodwin's given this club a spark this year.
Offensively and defensively. The Rangers have yet to make an error in the outfield this year. 2-1. The pitch to Sims. Swung on. Missed strike 2. Mark McLemore on deck.
That easy motion, and that fastball just jumps on you. Just late.
2 balls, 2 strikes. What's left of the crowd of 23,000 on their feet. Strike 3. When Mariano Rivera began his career in the Yankee organization in 1990 in the Gulf Coast League with Tampa, at the age of 19, he had an earned run average of .17. Struck out 58 and walked only 7 when he was 19. And McLemore takes inside for a ball. McLemore 1 out of 4 tonight, an RBI single in his last at-bat.
Just a little point, but tonight, Rangers have struck out 10 times, the Yankees 2. It's been the Yankees' ability to put it in play that's kept several innings alive.
And there's a looping line drive into left field, base hit. They're going to keep the runner at third base.
Well, good job by Jerry Narron. Good job by Chad Curtis running that ball in. He didn't really care if they sent the runner Alicea in, but he wasn't going to let the tying run McLemore go to second base. And Rusty Greer, who has a habit for late inning heroics with home runs, will get a chance to do something big here.
And here is Rusty Greer. Greer is no stranger to being a hero. In the past 3 years, he has had 12 final at-bat game-winning hits for Texas. Up high for a ball. And tonight, Greer is 1 for 4. He doubled to left in the 6th. 1 ball, no strikes. Grounded weakly to second base. Knobloch's got it. The throw to first. The game is over. And And so the Yankees hang on to beat the Rangers 8-6. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Dave Campbell, Charlie Steiner saying goodbye from Yankee Stadium.